Hello everyone. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. So, in case you haven't heard somehow, I have officially qualified for this year's Manufacturers Series. And I represented Team Subaru. So, we will be going to Milan, we will be going to Tokyo. Hello cars. Hello David Schechter. Mason, congratulations will be tuned for you, thank you. Thank you Alexander, congrats and best of luck both, thank you. Thank you Ian Carey. Yeah, thank you, cars. So, what I'm going to be doing not today. What I'm going to be doing this stream is I'm going to wait a few minutes, get some people coming in here, and then we're going to be going over each of the races that I did for this season. So there were 6 rounds. So I'm going to show you 6 replays, maybe more depending on what we do. I'm only going to do this for probably 2 hours or so. That should be enough time to say everything I need to say by then and see the replays, etc. I will try and remember my quali times I did for each one. I'm pretty sure I remember the qualifying time I did for each round there was. At least the last slot. I think there was a few slots I would have had a better quali, but I'll just remember the qualifying that I did for the actual result I got. Hello Jackson, evening, GTWS Carlson, GTWS Carlson, evening to you mate. Hello Osambas, Osama. Hello Osama. Hi Carlson, congratulations for qualifying for the World Series, wish you the best mate. Thank you mate. Hello Nothing But Ruth, hello. Define, congrats Carlson on the official news. Stoked to see you on that stage with the elite, doing it for Yorkshire. Hell yeah brother, doing it for Yorkshire. Thank you bro. Hello Dingle, evening, congrats. Thank you, mate. Hello to you. Hello Nick, good evening to you. We're going to wait a few minutes, let some people come in before we show off our first races. Now, in case you guys, some of you are not aware that I tried to stream every round for this season, which I did manage to do, except for the first round because I was having big connection issues. But after that night, I fixed the issue with something, and it's been very, very stable ever since. Thank goodness. I'm actually glad we had that little setback in the first couple of slots of round 1, because now we're looking good and we can actually stay in races without having a fear of disconnecting ever again. Really, I've had no issues ever since. It's amazing news, absolutely amazing news. Hello, Mad Max GG's, it's been confirmed. Thank you, mate. Yeah, I'm stoked, to be honest. I'm really stoked. Good evening, Carl. Looking forward to this with you. Buy new underwear for your travels. I have got plenty, mate. YouTube viewer. Thank you, mate. I've got plenty, don't you worry. How do I say his name? Sorry. Hello, Mihai. Well done, congrats. Thank you, mate. Hello, Nessie. Hope you all are good. Well, like I said, I'm going to wait a few minutes, let the people come in, and then we'll review. Should only take 2 to 3 hours max, I would imagine. I don't want to drag it on for too long, but I just want to. I was going to do some racing tonight, but honestly, I don't really feel like racing today. I'll do some tomorrow, probably Thursday, maybe, definitely Friday as well, and maybe even Sunday as well, because I'm really liking the daily races this week, and I want to do a lot of those dailies because they're fun, and plus, yeah, well, they're fun, so I might as well stream them. You know what I mean? Hello, Agnic Harris. Hope you're good. We'll give it like 3 or so more minutes. When do you get the real car starts? I'm guessing you'll be practicing. Not 100% sure yet, Define, to be honest. But hopefully in the next month or so at least. Just give me a couple months practice. I'll be alright. I'll be able to. That should be long enough for me to learn, to be honest. But yeah, I don't actually know yet, unfortunately. We'll just have to wait and see for that. Anyone got any questions or anything? I'm just gonna wait a couple of minutes just so that more people can hear about how my season went and that. There's no point starting it straight away when barely anyone's going to be here for the beginning of it, because, you know, people are going to be doing other things and that before realising I'm live and they want to watch, etc. So we'll give it a few minutes if that's okay. Hello, Capt. Howdy, Caster. Howdy, chat. YouTube viewer. I will talk about that. I will talk about why I picked Subaru in the end. There is a few reasons why I did pick it, but I'll go into those when we start getting into the thick of it. I will mention it, don't you worry. I did have quite a few options, to be honest. Question about just, well, sure, if you want, Nessie. As long as it's not too personal, then it's all good. Ask away. Ask away, mate. Have you checked? Yeah, yeah. Plenty of time, Nick. That's all good. Nothing to worry about. I got it renewed about 2 years ago, so we're chilling. Do you have any intention of going for nations in the upcoming years? Probably not, to be honest. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. This year, no, though. This year, I will make guides for the races and that. That's probably all the practice I'll do, except for half an hour or so before the slot, depending on the combos. I'm not going to put too much time into the nations, because honestly, all the last 2-3 weeks, all I've been thinking about is this, to be honest. So I don't want to be thinking any more about it, to be honest. I just want to be chilling for a bit at the moment. But maybe we'll see. If we improve, then why not? But this year, no. I definitely won't try this year. But I will be doing every round I can just for enjoyment. I will probably be top split nations, unfortunately, but I don't care. As long as we're having fun and battling for last with someone at least, then I'm cool with that. I couldn't care less about points for nations, to be honest. I've done the hard work already, so it's all good. So what does it mean? All right, Danisher. So basically, we've just had a manufacturer's season. There were 6 rounds, best of 5 counted. I managed to get the highest points for my manufacturer, and my manufacturer managed to get top 12, which means I will be going to the GT7 esports races in, well, there are 4 rounds, but I'll only be going to Milan, which is round 2, and Tokyo, which is the final round. That's basically all it means, really. Evening, G-Man. I wish they would let you play on control to show people that it can be done, and you don't have to have will to compete. I've got mixed opinions on that. Yes, I would love to use control there, but at the same time, it'll be fun having the experience on wheel. It'll be very fun, so I don't mind. I'll probably be slightly off pace, to be honest, but I'll try my best. Oh no, I'm having trouble with bleeding time during laps because I go on fall too soon at every turn. I don't really know how to practice it. It's just time. It's just time and practice, mate. The more you do it, the more you get used to it. You'll find that sweet balance, and you'll improve over time with that. Thank you, Urine. Good evening, Rich. Are you hoping to pay for wheel Steve? That would be amazing, YouTube viewer. Oh my goodness, that would be so cool. Maybe if that happens, I'll be bussing. To be honest. Thank you, Rob. Drop from USB rods. So thank you, bro. You can't. No, you can't. Quad Q. Not allowed to. Probably because of sponsors. Would be my guess. The Fanatec sponsors. They should have a control category at least, considering it's a flipping console game. Yeah, maybe. But it wouldn't be as fun to watch for the people that don't play the game, because there's people that will watch the races in the World Tours that don't actually play the game, and they'll think it's unrealistic and that. So I can kind of understand it. Awesome, man, congrats once again. So thank you, Defo. Is it confirmed you can't play on controller? Yeah, I would say so. It's been like that for past numbers of years. So yeah. Yeah, thank you, Danisha. It's amazing. Ethan Spawny. Yeah, thank you, mate. Hello, Ibri. Thanks. So the laps seem to be like the good time, Charles. My pants seem okay. It is that I bleed throughout the whole lap. I have 3 laps on the tick. Yeah. It's all about time and effort. The more you do it, the more you get used to it. Good evening, Andy. Hope you're good. Before we get started, let me just do something very, very quickly. It'll literally be 30 seconds, so bear with me, guys. Bear with me. There we go. Right, I think we should now get into it. Hold up, a couple more comments I've just missed. Yeah, I would appreciate it. Like YouTube, you've said, thank you, mate. It's not going to be as long as the stream, so I'm not going to have to set like goal or anything. It's just a relaxing stream. Just for fun, just to, so you guys can go on my journey, basically. Hello, KTR Kip, thank you, mate. Hello, Janie Lunan, thank you. You think you'll be fast on real? No, probably not. But as long as I get reasonably close to my controller pace, then I'm more than happy, to be honest. Because you've got to remember, I've been practicing and perfecting the controller for the last 10 years or so, pretty competitively. So it's not to get up to that pace in 2 months will be difficult, but I'll try to get as close to it as possible. Quadcree isn't a PS sponsor, assuming you use a PS control. Congrats, love for DTS and your lot, guys. Thank you and good luck. Thank you, mate. Oh, malarkey. Yeah. I get what you're saying. That took me a second to understand what our first word was, but yeah, malarkey, yeah. I get you. Thank you, everybody, for €5. I appreciate you, mate. Thank you so much, bro. Thanks for your generosity, as always. Really excited about it. So fun that we do this for you. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, to be honest. Will you switch to wheel completely or continue to use controller? So next, I'll say as soon as I get the wheel, I'll probably be on the wheel for the next month or two just to practice for it. But after the first live event, I will probably go back to mainly being on controller, just because there's not enough top controller players that are that competitive in that. And I want to try and prove to everyone that you can definitely compete using control. So I'll probably still mainly use control, kind of like what Dodge Lamb's doing, my teammate. He has a wheel, but he will still do his online races using a controller. I'll probably be doing very similar. Every now and then I might use a wheel just to, not get too rusty with it or anything. But I'll probably still mainly use control. But for the next couple of months, when I do get the wheel, I will probably just use the wheel just to get as used to it as possible. But after the Milan event, I'll probably go back to the controller unless I feel like I need to significantly improve my first World Tour event. But we'll take it one step at a time. Thank you, Rapid. Thank you so much, bro. Did PD already contact you to send that? They sent me the email this morning. I've just done the registration form and that, so I guess I will give them the permission to send them. But that could be another email to say if you need a DDX stream that, then I'll say yes. Blah blah blah. But yeah, I've done the registration form on that, so it's all good. I heard one guy jumped from wheel to controller in the rain. I think he was in here, Pedro. Yes, I think that's just because he didn't have his wheel set up though. But that is a possibility as well. If I learn the wheel, I can always do that for future races. So it'll be good to learn both as good as possible, because there could be some combos that it's easy to drive on controller. There could be some combos that are much better on wheel. If I'm good on both, I can use either. So it'll be good to learn. But without further ado, let's review my season. Let's do it. Right. But he 360s, of course, yeah, it's very good at 360s. Alright, so the first round, and this is the only race you wouldn't have seen my POV from, because I tried to stream this race, and if you remember the first stream, which was Road Atlanta, I disconnected the first 2 slots after qualifying, which didn't go well, because it meant I only had 1 slot left to get a result. I'll need to find this replay. Oh, hold up. Whoa. Hold up a second. Mike, mate, what? Thank you for the €59.99, mate. Why? Why? Thank you, bro. Some support for real. Thank you, bro. Jesus. That is so generous, bro. Thank you, mate. I am speechless. You do not have to do that, mate. You do not have to do that, but thank you. Thank you so much. I should get given one, but thank you for the donation either way. I will use it towards the channel to get some improvements in that, so thank you. I found catching slides and fall modulation the most trickiest when switching from control. It took about 3 weeks for me to start matching my time. Yeah. It'll probably take me longer than that, to be honest, but you know. That's part of the fun. Anyway, I think it's good for the Gran Turismo players that top players use it too for feedback to PD, and it makes it so they are very viable ways to play the game in the future. For sure, mate, for sure. Use pedals for brake and gas pen control to steer. Probably better the other way. Oh, would it be better the other way around? Yeah, it'd be better the other way around. Probably. I'd probably use the R2, L2 for braking and throttle, and then I'll just use the steering wheel to steer. It would be funny, C. Smith. Yay, thank you, Flash, for the £4.99, mate. An official congrats on qualifying and a digital celebratory beer. Well done, thank you, mate. I don't drink, unfortunately, but maybe I'll have a shot with that, so thank you. At the GTS, you should one up the competition and show it with a keyboard. Maybe I should use the Guitar Hero button layout as well, or a Wii remote. Just show it's possible using no matter what. Anyway, let's show you my first race, because otherwise we'll be here all night. Where is the first race? It was after Tokyo. Here we go. So versus replay, and this is the only replay I have of it, because like I just said, I disconnected from the first 2 races. So I only had 1 slot to do it. I don't drink either, but they don't have a Diet Coke. Yeah, I'll take a Coke any day of the week. Hello, Heinz. Good evening, Carson Chat. Thank you, mate. Anyway, so as you can see, the picturescapes here. Hello, AVS as well, by the way. I actually initially did the practice in the BRZ. So that was the car I was going to use for this first race. In fact, I did use it for the first slot, and my qualifying lap, it wasn't great, it wasn't terrible. I believe I did I'm trying to remember the lap times for this. Was it a 1:16? I'll be able to tell once we get into the race what sort of lap times it was. I think it was a 1:16. I'll just see in a second. But anyway, for the first slot I used to be said, my lap was alright, but it was just so difficult to be consistent in that car that after the first slot, and once I saw how well Peter did it in this first slot in split 3, then yeah, I knew it was better to switch to a WX at that point. Yes, I saw Dingle. Thank you, mate. I did say. There you were. Did I heart it on that? I definitely. Yeah. I've done it. If you see the heart on top of the donation, that's when you know I've read the thing. So it's all good. But thank you for the reminder. So first slot used to be offset, but second slot and third slot I went in a WRX. The second slot I did a 0.2, I think. I think it was a 10th quicker than what I did in the BL said. But I knew there was more time in it, and I disconnected straight after qualifying again. So let's go into this. So as you can see, well, let's just go into this first. As you can see, I've qualified 5th here. My lap was not great, to be honest. I think I did a 0.3. I think it was the slowest qualifying I did of the night, but it was still good enough for 5th. I do think the lobby was getting slightly weaker because this was split 2, but the points were similar to split 3 in slot 1. So mainly the strongest cars would have been gone at this point. I mean, as you can see, there's not a single Nissan, there's no BMWs, those are the strongest cars of this sort of track. I don't know, the Nissan wasn't the strongest, but the cars like the M6, the Huracan was decent. Actually, no, the Huracan wasn't that great. The Beetle was decent. You see there's a lot of Huracans in this hobby. A lot of people picked the Lambo this season. Which is understandable, because no one really thought about picking Lambo for this season, so I'm not surprised everyone picked it, because they thought they can maybe get away for competition and that. Hello, good evening, Jay. Good evening, Jason as well. Hello, Higher Place as well. So, before we start it, I did get a question from YouTube viewer on why I picked Subaru. So I'm going to very quickly go over some of the manufacturer options I had, and there was mainly 3 or 4 I had. So I'm going to go through them now very quickly. So first of all, the one I was actually going to... Alright, no, there's 5. So first of all, I was going to pick Jag, but as soon as I saw the tracks on that was released for this calendar, I knew the Jag wouldn't be able to qualify, because that car doesn't have great handling, and it has bad tyre wear. And for this season, kind of relied on medium and high-speed corners, which suits the FR cars mainly, but you need an FR car that handles, and the Jag doesn't. I knew that car would struggle qualifying straight away, so there was no reason for me to pick that. Hello, mate King. Hope you're good, bro. So that is one car out of it already. Thank you, CRS. Thank you, bro. So Jag's a no-go. The second option I had was a Genesis. If you remember the Tokyo Daily we had a week or 2 before this, I think it was a week before, I really enjoyed the Genesis on that Tokyo layout because it handled decently and it had good acceleration. Yes, it's high-speed BOP, so you can't exactly replicate that to medium-speed BOPs and that, but it gave me a rough idea that the car was semi-competent. I'm good, Dan, you, thank you. I'm doing very good, thank you. Good doing a season with you, that's all. Evie Mike, hope you're good as well. Please call me Roo. Wait, hold up. 10 gifted. Oh my goodness, CRS. Thank you, mate. Oh, and thank you, Jay, for the membership. Wait, hold up. Let me just go through them all in order. Alright, first of all, thank you, Jay, for the 1 month. I'm so happy for you. Let's go. Thank you, mate. Thank you, Sani, for the £5. Congrats, been waiting for you to call for a few years now. A few years. Very many, mate. But thank you, mate. I appreciate that. And then CRS with 10 gifted, which is just insane, mate. Thank you so much, bro. That is amazing generosity from you, so thank you, mate. And welcome to all the new members that have a nice, lovely green name on the side now. Don't cry, please don't cry. Anyway, so I was quickly talking about the menus. So I said no to Jag, then I was going to go Genesis, and the reason I didn't go Genesis in the end is because when I saw the leaderboard times for his first round, I thought the car would be decent on this track, but the fact I didn't see any Asia/Oceania driver or American drivers, or Americas, I should say Americas, so Brazilians and that. As soon as I didn't see a single Genesis in the top 200 from either of those regions, I knew the car would struggle to qualify straight away. Thank you, Nevi. Rita stream, big congrats. Thank you, Ken. You're not late. You're never late. Never late. So don't you worry. Oh, you're Crossfire. No, you're Crossfire. Yeah, I know who you are now. Sorry, Crossfire. It took me a second to work out who you were. Thank you, Giraffe. But yeah, I didn't pick Genesis because as soon as I saw the leaderboard for this, there wasn't a good enough lineup for that car to qualify for me, in my opinion. I think in the end they were like 80 points off qualifying, which is basically a whole round on average, maybe even more than a whole round. So yeah, they were quite a bit behind. Don't know if it's been brought up, but yeah, but can you compete with... No, you have to use a wheel. You have to use a wheel. But it's all good. It'll be fun. So that's the second manufacturer that I thought of, and it didn't work. Yes, Crossfire. Oh, Arkies, mate. Thank you for the 45 Danish, whatever currency that is. Controller power, congrats. Thank you, mate. I do appreciate it. So that's the second reason. That's the second manufacturer I ruled out. Third one I was going to go on with was Lexus. I wanted to pick Lexus because I knew the car would be decent for this calendar, and I knew for a couple of those rounds that it would struggle getting results in top splits. So maybe I could try beat Antonio with a bit of a point, with the messy point system. But after, in hindsight, very good thing I didn't go for Lexus because Antonio drove an absolutely insane season in the Lexus. I mean, he literally got third first slot in the last round, which is just insane. Because the Lexus had terrible tyre wear for Watkins. So the fact he still got third in that race in a very competitive lobby meant I had no chance against him. Because there's no way I would be able to replicate what he was doing in the Lexus. So thank the Lord I didn't pick Lexus. Sorry, let me just very quickly catch up on the other stuff. Which manufacturers will be toughest to beat at the finals? God knows. Because you've got to remember there's different BOPs and that they do for those events. You only got Unreal. I've never tried it, so we'll have to find out together, I guess. Thank you, Tress. Hope you're well. Congrats for so big accomplishment. Thank you, mate. Sorry, I've still checked house now. I'm going into my first series race very soon tonight. Any tips for tyre for a control player like yourself? Try monitoring steering as much as possible. So what I like to do is I like to hold my L3 stick up, use the casing of the controller to keep the steering at the same place, so that you don't have to go fully to the left or fully to the right. That way you can dictate how much steering angle you want to put into each corner and keep it there. And I would also recommend to tyre safe, especially on the faster corners and the longer corners, because that's when the tyres will be turning for longer or faster, so that you're scrubbing the tyres quicker. So those are the main corners you want to tyre safe on in particular. But anyway, fourth manufacturer I was thinking was, what was the other one? I was thinking, this was a very brave one, I was thinking Master, but again, as soon as I saw the calendar, which relied a bit on curbs, I knew on a controller I'd struggle with that. Controller will always struggle on bumps more than a wheel. I don't know why that is. That's just always the case. It struggles with bumps. I can't answer you why. I don't know myself, but it just struggles on bumps. So that's fourth manufacturer. I was very quickly thinking about Citroen as well, but again, I'm glad I didn't pick Citroen because I would struggle at Nords. I would have struggled here. I would have really struggled on those 2 rounds, and I would have potentially struggled at Deep Forest as well in that car. So I'm very thankful I didn't pick Citroen. That's about it for the manufacturers, I think. I think those are the main cars I've ruled out now. Try to remember one on top of my head. I think that was about it. So that's why I ruled these out. Thanks, Sparks Theory. I appreciate yours. Thank you, Butson, Cats. Thank you, guys. Anyway, let's get into the first one. So, like I said, I qualified 5th. My lap wasn't great, to be honest, but it was just enough to start me ahead of the following pack that were very, very closely in line. They were like within a couple hundredths. Like these, like 5 from memory, were within like not even half a tenth. So if I was only a tenth slower, I could have been back here, and that could have really ruined my first race. So the fact I qualified 5th gave me a decent chance of a good result here, at least. Thank you, Shahir. So let's get into it. So this race, I believe it was times 3 tyre and times 2 fuel, and it was 22 laps. So if you know anything about the WRX, this car has really bad tyre wear. Really bad tyre wear. One of the worst in Group 3, actually. Just because it's got so much weight in the front, and it doesn't have a lot of handling on top of that, so you have to steer quite a lot to get it around the corners. So I always struggle on tyres, but so does the Super, but then you've got the 2 whole cans and the Beetle. Beetle's not the best on tyres either, to be fair, but it's better than the WRX. There we go to chase cam. So I knew at first all I needed to do was just try break away from the cars behind, because for the first round, yes, 5th wouldn't have been a lot of points, but it would be decent points to build the season on. So, you know, I wouldn't have been disappointed getting 5th here. So all I wanted to do was just try break from behind. The second thing I was mainly focusing on was to not get a penalty, because that could ruin my race. Evening, Carlton chat, congratulations on your success, and thank you for my gifted membership classifier. Hello AMJ, hope you're well there. As you can see, Mira got a penalty straight away. Which I was kind of happy with, but at the same time, I wanted to break away. I didn't want to battle so much. So here, Mira's going to be taking a penalty. He's going to lose position to Arja. And then I wanted just to sit behind here because I knew the Super would have to go for the move here, whether it was on the inside or the outside, because you'd have such an overspeed. So what I decided to do is brake early. So he goes on the outside, there's a little bit of collision, he goes a bit deep on top of that, so I knew at this point I just had to go for a cutback, because the WRX has a lot better early acceleration than the Super. That's the Super's biggest weakness alongside tyre wear, is the initial acceleration. The WRX has one of the best accelerations in the whole of Group 3, so I knew as long as I got myself a decent exit, I'd easily get him here, which is exactly what happened. perfect, and I could take this corner flat because I'm a whole car length ahead and I can do what I want. So I saw Miro flash from the hazard, and honestly, I was playing the same game. I wasn't going to battle him or anything. I did go a bit deep here because I didn't really take into consideration the real slip, because you've got to remember, this is the last stop, but this was the first time I'm actually racing, because I disconnected from the qualifying session, so the first 2 slots. So this was my first time experiencing what the dirty air was like for this season. I had no idea what the slipstream was like. I didn't do any practice with real slip or anything, and even if I did, that was with a BL. That would have been with a BL set, because I didn't practice with a WRX. I had to adapt after slot 1 to try learn the WRX very quickly, because it was a lot more consistent of a car to use. It may not have been quicker than the BL set, but it wasn't that much slower, but it was worth using, because it was a lot easier to hook up a lap with. Even though it's got a lot worse slower, I would rather have a good qualifying position. So I'm kind of glad I made the decision to go for WRX. Hello, One Esports, thank you, mate. So these two are battling, which was the wrong move, because they could easily break away from us, to be honest. I don't know why they would battle this early in the race. But I'm kind of glad they did battle, because it helped us get in there. Yeah, 100% rapid, huge pressure here. My first lap on the mediums, okay, yeah, I just remember the qualifying times now. These are on mediums. So my qualifying lap in this was a 1:16.3. I think Paul here was a 0.1 or even a 0.0, so I was about 2.5 tenths of goons ahead. But anyway, enough of that, don't matter. We're sticking closely to Miro here. We're starting to get a bit away from the Super as well. This was my first time driving the WX on the mediums the whole time. I had never driven this car on the mediums for this track anyway. Well, I don't know about World Champion Hogston, but we'll have fun at least. Hope you will, bro. And nice stream earlier as well. Hope you enjoyed Abu Dhabi today. So, Archie got a penalty here. So I was gonna get as close to Miro as possible, try get our Asia with a penalty. Because, like I said earlier, the WRX has insane acceleration, really good acceleration, one of the best in its class. So I knew I would have been able to get Archer here. Thanks for all the in-depth track guides lately. Thank you, Uri, mate. I appreciate that. So yeah, I had to go for the move at this point because, you know, it would be hard for me to overtake and be end distinct just because of a tyre wear difference. So I knew I had to go for the move straight away in this car. How do you think your time switch tutorial will be for you? Very difficult, but I won't give up. I'll give it my all. That's all I can do at the end of the day. Considering I overtook that lap, still not a bad lap. Yes, was so not fun. Ah, was the track limits annoying you by any chance? Yeah, Dingle's a lot of mods on a lot of channels. He's a good lad. So yeah, we got past Asia. Now I need to try catch up to Miro. But I knew from practice, Miro had really good pace in this combo. Probably the best in this lobby. No offense to anyone else in this lobby. I just knew from what I heard that he had a really good pace here. So I knew there wouldn't be much point battling Miro here because he'll have better tyre wear, and on top of that, he's got really good pace in this car. So all I wanted to do was just try keep up with him. We're going to skip forward a bit now. We'll go on Archer's point of view because something happens to him very soon. We'll see this lap. Yeah, he gets a penalty here, I remember. I was struggling a bit in S1 just because the handling of this car is not the greatest. It does understeer a bit. Oh, he doesn't get a penalty. Okay, never mind. But I think he may have got dirty tyres. So we'll carry on. I did struggle initially because, like I said, my first lap's on the mediums here. So I was always going to struggle. And I do have to tyre save even on the mediums a bit in this car. Otherwise I'll just be so slow at the end of stints. And I didn't want to overheat my front left tyre here. So we started to get away from Archer here. He was just starting to make a few mistakes on that. The Lambo was actually pretty difficult to drive in this combo, so I knew if I just kept it consistent, it'd be hard for him to keep up with me. To be honest, do we know what tracks we are going? No idea. We find out like 2 weeks before the event, so I'll just practice with it and see how I'll get on. At this point, Miro caught up to the Beetle, and I just know from Miro, in general, he's quite an aggressive driver. When there's an opportunity, he tends to go for moves straight away. So I'm kind of glad Miro did catch up to Gunter pretty early here, because two reasons this was good. One, I had clean air to push in. I didn't have to worry about dirty air or slipstream or anything. I could just do my own thing and try and break away from Archer. Two, and more importantly, if Miro ever got close enough, he could go for the move, and it would bring me back into this race. I think it was this lap he gets the penalty on. Was it this lap? I'm not sure. Alright, he doesn't get a penalty here. But you know, we're doing decent laps considering we hadn't touched the mediums on this track before, on this car. This was the first time I've ever driven this car on this track on top of that as well. So, decent pace considering not much practice in this car, to be honest. I mean, if you look at my tyres, yes, it's worse than these guys, but it's similar to the Beetle, so I did okay. And in fact, I did a 0.4. Really happy with that lap. So yeah. Here, Miro made a huge mistake here, but he had a really good save. He got too much on the curb, but you know, he didn't go fully on the throttle, so he just kept it on track. That brings me back into it with a bit of slipstream and that, which hopefully helps me defend from behind me. Oh yeah, the pressure was huge, because I wouldn't know if I was going to actually, I wasn't sure if I was able to finish the race or not with connection issues I had that night, but you know, we had to keep at it. And we've done decent so far. I'm quite happy with my pace, considering, like I said already, not much practice with it. Tyre weight's a bit worse, but that's just the WRX. Maybe a touch of controller as well, but I'd mainly say not enough practice with this car, and just the car's not good on tyres, full stop. So I knew already I would have to pit later than at least the whole were kind of ahead of me, but if not everyone. No, Rob Cooper, I would have to do it in BRZ, because for World Series uses the BRZ, they don't use WRX. It's always the BRZ they use, because it's a newer car, and it's a real car, whereas the WRX is not real, so yeah. It's a sort of VGT sort of car. It's not VGT, but you know what I mean, like, this car doesn't exist in real life. At this point, we're doing the same pace as Archer, so we're doing what we needed to do at the moment. Yeah, the fenders are amazing, this car. I love this car. Evening, Budweiser. Thank you, bro. Yeah, we're starting to get away from Archer. We're keeping up with these two ahead, which is good. We're going to fast forward a bit here. Nothing really to talk about for the next few laps, until I think lap 11. Thank you, V1 Vec, I appreciate it. Thanks for all your generosity as well recently, guys. It's absolutely insane. Very nice words, you guys are amazing. So supportive of each other. And I mean, if you look at my tyre wear on the mediums already, it's already 50% wear, and we've only done 10 laps. Compared to these guys, yeah. That's why I knew I had to pit later. Like, just look at the tyre difference. How are you supposed to compete? Yeah, Lapid, very true. I mean, they only car similar on tyres at this point than me. What's a Genesis? In fact, the Genesis had even worse tyre wear. Anyway, back on me. Yeah, I knew Archie got a penalty at some point, so this kind of cost him the race, because he'd put him with Gino behind him. So now I knew at this point, if I wasn't to make any mistakes, the worst I could get is for a P3. Yes, I will be going Budweiser, 100%. So now all I had to focus on is ahead of me. I don't have to worry about people behind me, because there's a big gap. There's probably a 2-second gap here at least. So I just focus forward and try to catch up to these two, even with slightly worse tyre wear. I knew if I kept it consistent, there's no reason I can't catch them. So I knew pit lap 11. Let me go back here quickly, guys. So just keep an eye on their pit entrance here. So I remember from practice with the BRZ, the optimum strat for me, I believe, was 11 laps mediums, 11 laps softs, or 12 laps mediums, 10 laps soft. So I was surprised to see Gunter pit on this lap, but I reckon the reason he pitted this lap is so that Miro didn't undercut him, because Huracan doesn't have great power and acceleration compared to the Beetle. The Beetle has really good acceleration, and it would be hard to overtake as long as this driver was able to look after tyres. So that's probably why he pitted. Thank you, Harmless Potato, mate. So that's probably why he pitted, but just keep an eye on their pit entrance here. Just look at the rough speed they took it. So he lifts, he brakes. So obviously I'm carrying on. I knew at this point, as soon as I saw those two stayed out, I then decided whether to pit this lap, just so that I wouldn't lose too much of a gap to the car's head, or pit the following lap and get a little bit of risk of getting undercutted from someone that pitted on this lap. For the last lap, I should say. So I'll let it play out, because you guys don't actually really know what I've done yet. So I'm going to let it play out. And in fact, guys, what do you think I did? Do you think I pitted this lap, or do you think I pitted lap 13? Let me know. Just I want to hear your thoughts. What would you have done? Would you have pitted this lap, or would you have pitted next lap? Considering the tyre wear of this car and the chances of getting a good result here, what would you have done, Lewis? At this point we had a good gap behind us as well. Edmund says 13, okay. You say 13 as well, Atheist, okay. 13 Budweiser. Alright, yeah, you guys are right. So, I do actually stay out on a lap. Two reasons. One, because I'm not, like I said, I didn't practice with this car, so I wouldn't know if I was able to do 10 laps on softs. I know Peter, the Hungarian driver, I'm pretty sure he did 12 laps mediums, 10 laps soft. He might have even done 11-11, but even if he did 11-11, he would have really bad tyres at the end of the race. So I knew if I wanted any chance to go for the moves on the people at the end, that I would need the best tyres possible. So that's the main reason I stayed out. Evening, the modern PG goes through. Hello Bobby, hope you're good. I'm surprised that Archer stayed out, because Huracan's decent on tyres. And there's one thing I forgot to show you guys. Look where they came out. Look where Miro came out anyway. This helped me. He actually rejoined right behind a car that hadn't pitted yet. This guy spun at the beginning of the race and hadn't pitted, so the fact that Miro had to overtake him, it would have cost him a bit of time. So this helped me a bit. Unfortunately, it does mean Gunter will probably get away, but at least it gives me a chance of P2. Manu moves out the way, or has saves there, not sure. Yeah, up here, that's another reason I would stay out as well. Anyway, let's skip forward. Guys, just pay attention to my pit entry. Please, just pay attention to my pit entry. So at this point, everyone has pitted but me and Archer. But I knew from the gap from the previous lap, I wasn't going to get undercut if I wasn't to get penalties or anything. But just pay attention to my pit entrance. This, in my opinion, was the best pit entrance I've done in my life. Just watch. I'm going to shut up. Just watch. Perfect. I could not have done that better if I practiced. I probably gained half a second on Miro and Gunter just from that pit entrance alone. That was an insane pit entrance. Full throttle, I'm sorry, I have to play it back. It's just so satisfying. I didn't even lift. This was flat. Oh, tiniest of lifts. Very tiny lift. But like, yeah, that was beautiful. I didn't practice the pit entrance once, and I did it like that. It was beautiful. But anyway, skip forward. Hello Wrench, hope you're good. So as you can see, the gap to the car's head, I'd say at this point was about 3 seconds, 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds. So I knew if I was just to tyre safe in turn 1 and push everywhere else, I'd have a decent chance at catching these two ahead, especially if I wasn't to get a penalty. Even though this car struggles on tyres, as long as I have a little bit of tyres at the end, I can still go for the moves because this car has really good acceleration. Good evening, Property Play as well. Hope you're good. And yeah, I didn't have to worry about behind because again, he's on older tyres than me, and I knew I had decent race pace. Even though I hadn't practiced race pace in this car, I tend to be a bit better in races than qualifying, because I just tend to be more consistent and that, and I'm better if you're on board. Well, I've been called worse. Wayneck. I don't know how to pronounce your name. That's just my guess. But anyway, let's just skip forward. Keep an eye on the lap times. So first lap I did was 17.7. About the same as these two. But I may have had cold tyres still. But yeah, first lap on softs in this car as well in a race, so I was always going to get better. Now Mira's in slipstream as well. He may potentially battle with Gunter, which is awesome. And look at his rear tyres already. He's going to be struggling at the end of the race. So 0.6, 3 tenths faster than these guys. 3 tenths. This lap, a 0.7. Again, a 6 tenths on Miro and 3 tenths on the 3 dub. And we're still getting away from the cars behind, so that's amazing. This lap, 18.3, 18.4, still 17.7. Really good pace. This lap, unfortunately, I messed up the first sector a bit. In fact, where did I make that mistake? Maybe it was just tyre wear kicking in, because I was starting to understeer on this lap, I remember. Bit slow there as well. Did I have to lift here? I don't remember. Yeah, I had to lift here as well, because I was turned a bit too late. Oh, sorry to hear that, Andy, but at least she's doing alright, so hopefully she gets better soon. But thank goodness she's doing okay at least. Not a great first sector, but that's mainly tyre wear kicking in at this point, I think. But compared to their laps, still 3 tenths, so we had a chance here. Now I'm really in their slipstream and I'll be putting pressure on. Look at their tyres as well. I knew my tyre wear wouldn't be good because WX just suffers with tyre wear in general, but we still have better technology than them, so we had a chance. Hey, bad brother. Oh, I shouted at this point because I thought I had lost connection. Everyone goes off the track for me. I thought I lost connection. I was freaking out at this point, freaking out, but thank God they came back. That scared the life out of me. Hello Ralph, hello Payment. That scared me so much, I thought I disconnected. But thank goodness it came back momentarily. Thank the Lord for that. I did lose a couple attempts because it threw me off, but at least we're still in a race. At this point we've got pretty similar tyres to the Huracan as well, so it'd be hard for me to have an opportunity to pass, but we're still keeping close. We're still faster than these two ahead as well. We actually had really good pace and we actually had really good race pace. Still faster than 2 ahead, and now we're really in the fighting chance of Miro, especially if it's rear tyres. So we're going to watch a whole last lap here. Miro has a moment on a curve here. Awesome for me, because it gives me a chance to try and go for the move later. I get closer to him here, so it gives me an opportunity. Good save from Miro there, considering his rear tyres. I thought I could have easily spun at that moment, but he kept it on the road, or on the track I should say. But right now, I am right on him. I just need to focus on good exit here. Could have done it slightly better, but decent exit still. Now this was my one opportunity. I didn't know whether I was going to go to left or right. I thought Miro was going to defend the inside, so I went to the right. I short shifted, so I went to the right. But I don't know if he saw, I think he did see me, but he wanted to be in Gunter's slipstream, so he ran me narrow, but oh fair. I broke early, and what you're going to see now is he has oversteer, but because he has oversteer, I have to back out, so I couldn't get him. This annoyed me a bit, to be honest, because I think if he didn't have oversteer here, I wouldn't have had to brake and I would have got him on the exit here. But just watch what I had to do to make sure I didn't hit him or spun him. I had to massively back out. I could have easily gone for it on the inside, but if I did, I could have potentially spun Miro and I could have got points deleted. So I thought I'll just take the P3 at this point. just bagged some points, and you know, a 379 is better than 0. So we just took the P3. We didn't risk going for the move and taking him out. It wasn't worth the risk. So we just bagged the P3 here. Well defended Tamiro, and well done Goon so far. Good race pace in the 3W as well. But considering I hadn't done any race practice in this car, extremely happy with how I did. Considering this car is awful on tyre wear. Hello Aura, I hope you're good bro. You're going to work, it's all good mate, I hope you're good. Nice seeing you here. One of the best races I've ever witnessed by the way, Aura. Loved your racecraft mate, and I hope I see you on the track soon. If you can. Absolutely loved racing with you. But yeah. We take the P3. I think this was 379 points. Not the best points in the world, but decent points to bank for the first round and improve on later in the season if I get the opportunity to. Decent banker points. So at this point I was P2 for Subaru. Peter got, I think it was 419, so he contributed some big money, well, not massive money points for Subaru, but, you know, he bagged us some points, and that could have made the difference, so I appreciate Peter for doing a good result there, and yeah, good points to start the season off with. So now, let's go to the second round. I had to share this replay, but yes. So the first round was slot 3, split 2. I heard you qualified, right? What a great thing to happen in the GT community. Thank you, Ola. Yes, I have, mate. I have done it, though. All these years, we've finally done it. This was my first proper go at it, though. But anyway, round 2 was Dragon Trail Gardens. And this is where the BRZ would be used, because the BRZ, because this track has quite a few long corners and quite a few slow speed corners. It's a bit of a handling track, which is what the BRZ is really good on. Thank you, Steve. A lot of long corners, which is the BRZ's biggest strength in general. And BRZ was one of the best cars on this track. I'm not sure if it was the best, but it was probably top 5 at least. So it was a very good car here. And I remember from this round that Nate Tarney, our Subaru driver in Asia, won the first slot of Japan, and he bagged 40 money points, which is the most you can get. So I knew from that I had a decent chance of getting a really good result here. Yes, you may already see the result here, but anyway, still relieving Saturday night. Felt like winning the World Cup. Yeah, honestly, thank you, mate. It was a relief, to be honest, more than anything. But anyway. So the tyres used for this race, I think it was ×5 tyre wear and ×2 fuel. It was a 20-lap race, and the qualifying was held in the dry. And it was a 5-minute quali session. So you had time to do, was it 5 minutes or was it 6 minutes? I think it might have been 6. It was 5 or 6 minutes. I don't remember. But anyway, you had enough time to do a push lap, back in the pits and do one more push lap. It might have been 6 minutes actually, this quali session. So yeah, it was 6 minutes, I'm pretty sure. So the lap I did was, I'm trying to remember, was it a 29 I did or 30? It was a 0.0 I think I did. It was a 0.0 I did. So in TT I did a 1:29.6 I think it was. It was something like that. But in the actual thing, I did a 1:30.0. But I didn't try to cut the first sector chicanes, because in my first lap I didn't set a lap, or didn't set a good lap, I should say, because I hit the curbs wrong every time on my final lap in my first attempt. So I thought after that round I wouldn't use those curbs for the entire rest of the evening, because for the sake of half attempt to a tenth and losing half a second every lap, it's just not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk. Don't worry about it, Arkies. I hope you had a good, I hope you survived that Saturday night. But anyway. So I qualified P3 here. Underrated lap from him, by the way. This was Frankie, or as known now, SFE, I think. he, in my opinion, had by far the best qualifying lap in this slot because the Supra is not good on this track. I mean, if you look at the other Supras in this lobby, they got a P8, well, just a P8, and neither is an insane driver. So the fact of the matter, he started 6 places ahead of him, it's insane. But in case you didn't know, this race had weather, and it was better to start in inters. This is a very big strength for me. Not these sort of inter conditions, but when it rains, that is by far my biggest strength. Just because I'm able to adapt to racing in the wet very quickly. Maybe the controller helps a bit with that, but I think it's also a bit of experience in general, just doing a lot of races in lobbies in the past in wet weather. So I kind of had a good idea of what I needed to do. So at this point, I just wanted to stay behind Frankie, try to get away from the Masters behind, because I knew the Master wasn't great on this track. I knew the Super wasn't either. But anyway, Frankie breaks on the racing line a bit here, and he goes deep. That gives me an opportunity to go on the inside here. I get a bit better traction here, and I'm already up to P2. This was a huge move, because I know the Super really struggles in the rain. And I knew if he could defend P3 or battle with anyone behind him, he would be causing a lot of time for the people away. So all I needed to focus on now was break away with Alba 4. If I'm able to break away with Alba 4, I should guarantee myself a P2 at worst. And I wanted to win, of course, but a P2 is also amazing and it would contribute great manual points. So all I wanted to do was just to break away, to be honest, from the Super behind. And if they had to waste time battling, even better for us, because it would give us a bigger gap to break away with. So, right here, nothing really happens. I'm just waiting behind Alpha. Now it's starting to rain a lot. So I knew at this point, now it's time to use the wet lines. I'm not sure about how much practice Alpha on that put in, so I wasn't sure if he was aware of the wet lines or not. But looking at what he was doing here, I knew immediately that he knew about the wet lines, so I was quite happy with that because it meant we could try and break away from the cars behind. At this point, Damien got past the Super. I think he got into the last corner here. Yeah, Frankie went a bit deep unfortunately here, so both the Masters got through here. Good move from those two, putting him off. But anyway, that was just about breaking away with Alba for a bit. Nothing much to say for the next couple of laps, other than just pay attention to if it was making mistakes in any particular corners and that, and just trying to break away from Damien. Fortunately, Damien and Paloma is also a very good rain driver, so I knew it'd be quite hard to break away. But as long as we could break away from Frankie at least, I was still happy, to be honest. So even the P4 would not be terrible points, so yeah. At this point, yeah, look at the lap time difference. We're quite a bit ahead, faster than these guys behind, so I knew we were breaking away from P5 already. But the Masters were keeping up with us here. Master's not a terrible rain car, so I wasn't massively surprised that they were able to keep up with us at this point. It's not the best for rain, but it's not bad. As you can see, I'm using a completely different line to them. I also had massive oversteer in this corner. I almost binned it here actually. Just pay attention to the exit here. So much oversteer. I was just putting the foot on the racing line. That was pretty stupid of me, to be honest. All I needed to do at this point was just defend the inside, because if I'm breaking it off the racing line, they won't be able to overtake me, because you're just never going to be able to outbrake someone if you're using the racing line when it's wet, just because of the way. Because of the racing line, there's more rubber on it. If you mix rubber with water / moisture, it just makes it more of a slippery surface, so you lose grip, and then you have to brake earlier, you have less handling / grip, and you can't get on the throttle so aggressively. So that's why you don't use the racing line in the wet conditions. At this point, we're probably maintaining our gap to the Toyota at this point, but that's probably because it's drying a bit at this point. There is a bit of a dry line. Obviously the car head will be drying the track quicker than will be drawing the track out for everyone here. Would you use the wheel if you had the chance? Of course, well, yeah, Sean, you have to use the wheel, but I will practice on it. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun journey. I get as much enjoyment seeing the point of this and watching them achieve, and enjoy watching good races. Even GTWS is rather watch tracks with than races with 4-5, just a bit different now. I honestly feel the same as you. I do prefer watching some races than actually racing in them, and that's probably what I'm going to do for Nations. As long as I have a good race, but if I get good points or not, if I feel like I've done a good race, I'll probably just take the points, because I'm not trying to qualify for Nations. I know I won't be able to, just because of the probably because of the combos they're going to release, and just because it's a lot harder to qualify for Nations. I know I won't be able to do it, because there's just some people are too good at the game that I just can't compete with. But anyway, the track's still drying. At this point, you had to use the racing line, because it was just a lot drier on the racing line. So I'm going to fast forward a bit here. A bit deep here. Damien had a small cheeky look there, but I knew he wouldn't have been able to dive me, because, yeah, I'm just looking at the straight line difference. Hello Loon, I use control and feel I've hit my absolute limit with it, but that's the only way to go if you want to be at your fastest. Sort of disagree, but I get what you're saying. You can maximise your pace on a wheel better than controller for sure, but there's no reason you can't compete on a controller. I mean, look at this. These are some top level drivers, and I'm competing with them. If you may have just noticed as well, Alpha made a mistake here. I think he turned too early here. Yeah, he got too much on the curb. I knew at this point I had to get on the inside of him, because if I didn't get on the inside of him, I would struggle diving him. So he defends the inside, but I knew I had to go for it here, otherwise I was probably never going to overtake him with the straight line speed differences. So I kind of dive bombed him here. This is a bit mid-apex, just so that he can get a cut back on me, and I got a beautiful exit. Insane move here, to be honest. And if you carry on watching out, but he makes a bit of a mistake here. He got a bit too much on the wet patch initially there, so he lost a couple attempts here. These are the sort of conditions I excel in when it starts to dry, because I have confidence in my braking references and that. I knew how much I would be able to push in these sort of conditions, probably compared to everyone else, because just because of the experience and that. I've done so many races where it's gone from wet to dry, but I kind of know the rough braking references you want to do for these sort of tracks, and I know the rough racing drying line. I did go a bit deep here, but I wouldn't have lost too much time, because that's just how you would usually do that corner. So at this point, time to break away. And let's just go lap by lap here. So here, 37.1. Look for lap difference. 1.5 seconds. That's what clean air does to you. When you have clean air, and you've got confidence in these conditions, you're just going to break away, even on a drying track surface. I mean, it is raining a bit now, but if you've got the confidence and the people behind you don't, you're always going to make a gap, because, you know, they're going to be racing time, braking early, getting on a throttle later, etc, etc, etc. Thank you, Flash, for the $4.99. Calster, can you talk us through what you are looking for with the different wet lines and how you approach it? I think people will be interested in that. I'll go through the replay first, but as soon as I do that, I can show you a lap quickly in the rain and see the rough racing in the wet and what I look for, etc. I get given a wheel, Sean, so don't worry about it. I get given a wheel to practice on. But thank you for the $4.99, Flash. I appreciate it. Before I carry on, I want to make sure I've not missed any others. No, I haven't. You guys are absolutely insane, by the way. Thanks for all your support throughout this season, throughout the last few months, especially since I started streaming. You guys are insane. Absolutely insane. But anyway, at this point it was still the dry line, because as you can see, Flash, there's still a dry line, so it's more grip on the dry line, but as you may also be able to see now, it is starting to rain. So as soon as the bar in the bottom left reaches a touch below the second bar, that's when you want to start using wet lines. Polora got Alpha at this point, and that kind of scared me, because I know Polora is an insane driver, so I knew he would have a chance of catching me here. At this point, still a bit of a dry line, so you still use it. But as you may saw here, I had a little bit of wheel spin, so at that point I started to know soon it's about time to use the wet lines here. Good evening, Miro. So at this point, about now you start to use the wet lines, yeah. Now it's time to use the wet lines, because it's starting to hit up the second bar for the wet bar. No, I'm not allowed to use the controller, by brother. You have to use the wheel. Well, that'll be fun. I should have probably gone slightly wider here. But I still had decent traction, so I think we did the right thing. And then we're still doing 7 tenths quicker, which is a really good pace. 395. About the same. Now it's starting to dry, so Polo will probably catch us up a bit. In fact, he still is this time on this stuff, but from this point onwards, as you can see the track, it is dry. As soon as the bar starts to go below the first bar, that's when you want to go on to slick tyres. So I think it's at the end of this lap I pit. I think it's this lap, right? No, it's the next lap. Okay, no, it's the next lap we pit. Some people pitted this lap. Lewis did. Forrest did. Oh, this is where Albafor's race ended, I imagine. Oh, rip, yeah. Yeah, that's what it's. That's what happened to me slot 1 actually. In slot 1, on one my, I think it was on lap 15, I was directly behind the car. I'll show you next lap, when someone's on a proper lap. But I touched the wet patch and that killed my race. And I got 6th, I think, first lap. Even though I qualified P14 and with a crash, I still got P6. But anyway, this point, I'm still on Inters. I'm looking at tyre wear. Like, the Inters are just dying at this point. Even worse than the Master. I looked after tyres really well here, actually. Yeah, in lap, look how much time they gained on me. 6 tenths. This point, I wasn't sure what tyres people put on because I'd concentrated. I had to concentrate actually getting out of this pit exit because it's a bit sketchy here. You can't just go full throttle the whole time. I had a bit of wheel spin. I had to completely back out of it. Since Polo went on softs, he didn't really have to lift until he basically rejoined the racing line. So at this point, I had no idea Polo was on soft until he started to massively catch me up. Thank you, Jocko. I appreciate it. I mean, look at our lap times. He's a second lap quicker because he's on soft. But that's okay, because all I needed to do was just defend the inside of the racing line, because you can't fit 2 cars on the dry line, and the wet line is far too wet for a car to die, because I just aquaplane off. Way too wet. So like I said, as long as I defend the inside, it's good. Massive pressure, because obviously Polo's on soft, so he's about a second lap quicker than me. But like I said, all I had to do was just keep it on the dry stuff and just defend the inside of it so that he had nowhere he can go. Don't brake too late. I'm in here, defend the inside. Don't brake too late. Just cover the racing line. Nothing he can do. Because if he wants to try and get off the line and brake, he'll just aquaplane off and potentially take me out as well. And he can't risk that. Hey up Tatum, hope you're good, bro. So yeah, right here, as you may have saw, just defend the inside. That's all I can do. Defend the inside of the racing line, because it's still far too wet to use the wet line. So yeah, he has to back out because he can't go anywhere else. Luckily the BR side has insane downforce, the best downforce in Group 3 easily. So I was able to pull even in turn 1 on the hardest tyre compound still. Try not to use curbs or anything because it will still be very wet and you'll lose time touching it. But as you can see, I used a bit of a wet patch just to cool my tyres down a bit on the straights, just so that I had good tyres for the end of the race, so that I could easily defend from Poloa in case outside the dry line gets dry enough for people to go for moves on. Thank you, Mystic. I mean, at this point we're doing 33.8, which is a really good lap on mediums. I mean, it's 4 tenths faster than what Damien's doing, and everyone knows Damien's a very good driver. So at this point, I knew this off to start to struggle. I mean, if you look at turn 1 here, Ethan, I'm pretty sure he touches the inside curve here. Yeah, he just understeers as soon as he touches it. That's when I started to realise he was starting to struggle keeping up with me. Vazovs was starting to lose his freshness, I will say. So now, just keep it consistent, not make mistakes, and I should have it in the bag. I mean, look at that, he's just understeering right now. And look at the lap times, we're starting to get better laps than Palou now. So just keep it on the racing line. Yeah, look, we're still faster. Now he's struggling. So now we break away. And we'll just watch our stop here. So I can read up the comments. It's a bit unfair, I suppose, my buddy, but that's just life. And I understand why. You've got to keep the sponsors happy. You've got to remember, Fanatec probably invested a lot of money to get all the rigs and wheels set up for the event. It's totally understandable. Thank you, Tatum. I'm bussing, to be honest. Absolutely bussing. First proper attempt at trying it, and I qualified. It's insane. Look at this gorgeous car, just cruising on this track. This was split 2, slot 2, and I think I got 429 points here. And I think I contributed about 20 money points, 20 or 23, 24, something along those lines. So decent money points to pick up on, and this got me to P1 in Subaru comfortably, because I think he got like a P12 from top split, so yeah. I was thinking he'd start practicing in the wheel as soon as I get it, David, which I'm not sure. So hopefully not too long. It'll probably be happening after the nation season. So once everyone qualifies and registers from the nations, they'll start sending stuff out. That would be my guess. But as you can see, first place, big points, and yeah. Let me just show you a wet lap quickly for Flash. When was it? Probably the best lap to show it on was when I overtook Al before. So we'll show this lap. Was it wet? Yeah, it wasn't that wet. Yeah, here. This is when, I mean, this turn 1 was still dry enough to use the dry line, but you needed to, it's not really a good reference, to be honest. I think lap 3 was the best. Lap 2 was the best, yeah. So what you basically want to do in racing in the rain is basically, in case you didn't watch my stream, I had the racing line on. I don't like to use the racing line, and in fact I didn't use it for Spa. But the only reason I used racing line on this track is because I couldn't see the dry line really well. If I could clearly see the dry line, I probably wouldn't have used the racing line, because I learned the wet lines and not without the racing line. But the only reason I used the racing line is because I couldn't really see the drying line. So that with the racing line assist thing, I could clearly see where the drying line was. So that way, I knew where to avoid. I knew where I needed to place my car in the drying conditions. But basically, what you want to do in the rain is basically be at least a car width off the entry curb, and in some scenarios, exit of curbs as well. So here, you'd go on the inside here, just so they had better braking performance. And then here, I like to take a wide line because I'm off the racing line for longer, so I can put the power down. Unfortunately, I do mess it up a bit on this scenario, but you basically want to try to avoid the racing line as much as possible so that you have some more grip in general. Good evening, Michael. Yes, I have had confirmation, thank you. So right here, again, car width off the apex on the inside, car width off the apex on the outside. Gives me much better traction, a lot more, I could be a lot more planted on the throttle, have much better acceleration on that. At this point I was experimenting the red lines. What Alpha was doing there was better than what I did, but at the moment I was just experimenting. Again, car width off the racing line. Absolutely Dingle, go for it, no problem. I know what it is, but you feel free to share it. But yeah, like I said, you basically, as much as you can, try avoid the racing line. I've seen some scenarios on some tracks, you won't be able to avoid the racing line because of, just because some corners are going from left to right to left, chicanes basically, where you're just going to get on the racing line, just because you have nowhere else to go. You have to hit the racing line at some point. But basically you just want to avoid the racing line as much as possible. Unfortunately, in this race, I don't have a lap where I am in clean air and show you the red lines, because as soon as I got ahead of Alpha, it stopped raining, and it was at that point where you wanted to use the drawing lines. So yeah, that's all I'll say. But 429 points there, I'm pretty sure it was. P1 for Subaru at this point by, I think I was over 100 points ahead of P2 at that point. So definitely not guaranteed, but you know, a very good first two races for me. I was the only driver in my whole region in Subaru to have two scores over 350. I think Charles had two over 320 from memory. But I had two from over 350. I had a 376, 370, I think it was 376 or 379, and a 429. And I believe I was about P13 in the world at that point as well. Just for keeping it consistent and that. I didn't have the best qualifying pace, but it was enough to put me in the top half of the field, and you know, it gives me an opportunity to get good results still. What you may notice later on in the races I'm showing you, my qualifying wasn't particularly great this season. It was probably my biggest weakness of this season, to be honest. I didn't really have any good qualifying laps this season. I had one or two, but Guardian's lap was actually decent. A 0.0, I could have maybe gone a 10.42 faster, but there wasn't too much more in it. I hit the apexes, I hit the rough apex speeds, rough braking references. I made a bit of a mistake in the hairpin on my lap from memory in S2. I think I lost a tenth and a half in it, but my sector 1 and my sector 3 was pretty good. But anyway, on to this race. Yeah, Deep Forest. Now, this was slot 1 on split 3. This round I DR tanked a bit, to be honest. I don't like to DR tank, but after watching everyone else DR tanked, I kind of had to do the same. The WRX was actually a half decent car on this track, but the reason I wanted to be in split 3 was two reasons. The first reason is because I saw Nibtani in the Asia region pick up 36 Manu points. Well, at the time it was 33 Manu points, but there was the winning driver of slot 2 in Asia got points deleted eventually. So Subaru actually got 36 global points from our Asian driver from Nibtani. So huge shout out to Nibtani. But I could DR tank because of how well he did in his races. So huge shout out to Nibtani there. And before we carry on, huge shout out to Dingle's message about the charity event Sparks and Buddha are doing. So feel free to check it out. I believe they're doing a stream on, I want to say Friday morning. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. But they're going to be doing a stream to celebrate, help the charity out and that. So feel free to link their descriptions and that. If you're not DR tanking, you're not trying. Well, there you go, Outlaw. That's a good way of putting it. But anyway, yeah, Friday 11 AM, 24 hour. Yeah. There you go. I believe they're doing that at North Live as well. But anyway, as you can see here, this was split 3, and thank you, Aldi. This was split 3, slot 1. Was it slot 1? Yeah, it was slot 1. My qualifying lap for this, actually, before we carry on, let me just see the lap time I did. I don't remember the lap times, unfortunately, but I do have the best lap replay on this from memory. Yeah. So in practice, the best I had done was a 0.307. But for this race, the qualifying I did, I think it was a very high 0.4. I think it was a 4.9 something. So I was about 2 times off my time trial lap. So not the best lap in the world, but not bad. I might have done it on my second lap of tyres as well. I don't remember. I definitely lost time in S2 though, and a little bit in S3 as well. But anyway, as you can see, Peter here did just out-qualify me, but I wasn't too worried about that, because all I wanted to do here was just to bag some points, because I knew the controller, compared to the wheel, will always struggle on this combo. It will always struggle. The main reason is because of the braking for this corner here. You can't be as precise on this corner compared to the wheel. It's just nearly impossible. You can't get enough rotation in this corner compared to the wheel. You just don't have enough steering input to get around this corner as well as the wheel. So I knew the controller was always going to struggle here. That's why I wanted to DR tank to split 3 here. And I just wanted to bag some good good points here. I knew I wouldn't get great global points here for Subaru here, but honestly I couldn't not have done much else here, to be honest. What track is this? I want to play on a set Corsa. This is called Deep Forest, and this is a GT7 track exclusive, or original track I should say. There has been different alterations of Deep Forest in the past, but this specific alteration is only on Gran Turismo 7. But it's called Deep Forest Raceway, and it's in Switzerland. In case you want to try find a mod of this track, etc. But it's an original track. It's not a real life track. It's just an original track that Polyphony made. A good track, to be honest. I just don't like the last hairpin, unfortunately. I mean, look at this. Well, that's not a good lap to show everyone, but this, yeah, Fento loses out here because obviously I broke a bit early here because I didn't want to run into these people and cause a Constantino effect. So I broke here early. So Fento had to go on the outside to avoid me. Fortunately, he missed his braking a bit and went into Fento. Thank you, Linda. And if you carry on the replay, he obviously tries to wait for him, but at this point it's too late, and then it's 3 wide and they all go into each other. So yeah, it's not what you want, to be honest guys. It's not what you want. Peter gets a half-second penalty here as well. I believe he goes wide on this corner. I don't think I tapped him. Maybe I did slightly. Did I tap him? No, I didn't tap him. He just runs too wide. So he gets a penalty here. Bit concerning because it means we'd lose the slipstream to these 3. So I knew I had to push as soon as I get past him here. Unfortunately, I go too deep because I didn't practice with slipstream and I just go too deep. I always practiced by myself. I never practiced with slipstream or anything. So I kept going deep, unfortunately, but after this lap, my pace was actually pretty good. Like, this lap was pretty good for me. Yeah, this lap was good. 0.7. Puts me back in slipstream. But Peter behind also had really good pace, and he actually eventually did catch us up. Our penalties just shot for track limits. Mainly, yes, you can get penalties for contact as well, but the main ones you'll be seeing is track limits. Yeah, mainly 0.5. Some scenarios it could be 1 second, but it's mainly 0.5. At this point Peter's catching us up a bit, but that's okay. As long as we break away from this pack behind, then we're doing a good job. This race, yeah, ignore these surfers. The surfers are having a mare of this race. So just ignore that. What did I want to say? So the tyre wear for this race, I believe it was ×5. Was it ×5 mediums? I think it was just ×5 on mediums. And you did have to make a pit stop. So you didn't have to tyre change. And the only car I'd have considered not tyre changing was a Citroen. It was a bit faster to tyre change, especially in a WRX with worse tyre wear. I mean, look at the tyre wear here. Yeah, not great. But at this point, all I wanted to do was just keep up with these guys back ahead of me. And at this point, I was thinking about whether to pit lap 9, try and undercut these people, or pit lap 10 and have better tyres for the end. And I'll leave that until after the end of lap 9, so you guys can see what I'm doing. I think someone pitted lap 8 here. Yeah, he pitted lap 8, but he was too far behind already. Blanken, I hope you're good. At this point, Peter's caught us up, which is a bit unfortunate, but as long as we're keeping up with these people, can't really do much more, to be honest. And even a P5 wouldn't be terrible points, so I wasn't too fussed. So right here, let's carry on until the end of lap 9. So what you may notice is, hello Nick, hope you're good. Brake pits here. I think it's just brake lap pits. Yeah, brake pits. I stayed out here. I knew Peter would undercut me here. I'm not surprised Peter pitted, but I wanted to have better tyres for the end of the race, so I stayed out. And since I'm still in slipstream, I can still have a good in-lap and still be close to Bray and Peter. So that is what I did. I had a good in-lap. Unfortunately, though, Wind gets a penalty here. Just for going too wide here. He understeers wide and, yeah, he gets the penalty. Which is unfortunate for me, actually. Because what you may notice with this penalty zone, once he brakes and reaves, I have to back out and let him take a normal line. Because if I was to go for the move, we would get undercut by Peter, so I had to sit behind him and just hope he had a good hairpin. Unfortunately, he goes too deep, which just costs us more time. So I tried to have a look on the inside, but a bit too much wheel spin, so we'll just let him have it. So we'll go skip forward here. What you may notice is I'm directly behind the Nissan GTR coming into the pit entrance here. If you guys have any idea about the BOP, Nissan GTR doesn't have great acceleration. The WRX has insane acceleration. So what you may notice coming out the pit exit is it's going to get interesting. I'll just let it play out. Just pay attention. This was very interesting. So, obviously I am inside of him. A bit weird to say, but it's true. So we stay ghosted until we are not inside each other. So my aim here was just to try stay with him and somehow stay ahead of Peter. This was really funny actually, but this is where we lost out unfortunately. I just left inside of Peter and that's when I unghosted and unfortunately I got a bit shoved wide. But nothing Peter could have done about that, that's just unlucky. So we lost track position here, but at least we're still with them. But I'm a bit worried about Consta because Consta is an extremely talented driver, so I knew it was a long race to go still. But at this point I just wanted to break away. I'm surprised Peter went for the move here, because Wind had really good race pace here. So if it was just a bump draft Wind, we could have broken away. Peter does go too deep here, so I'll go on the inside of him here. I get a slightly better one here. Wind gives me slipstream, because Wind trusts me more than Peter. For ghosting was a bit weird here, it kind of threw me off, but we did get ahead of Peter, which is awesome. Turismo didn't tyre change either, so as soon as he gets oversteer here, his race was basically over, so he just let us by. So cheers to Turismo for letting us past. He did not have to do that, but I appreciate it. It did cost me a couple of attempts unfortunately, but it could have been a lot worse. Thank you Hutch Gaming. So at this point Peter goes for a move here. Not too surprised because I was struggling a bit at this stage. But he does go too deep and I get a perfect cutback. This was a beautiful cutback. So now I just have to try catch up to Wind. But unfortunately my pace wasn't great at this point. Peter actually does a very good move on the outside here. I was a bit too tentative here, but I let him have it as soon as I saw him go on the outside of me here. So at this point I'm just bump drafting him. Just try to catch up to the pack ahead. I noticed that the people ahead are side 12. Thank you Lead Pencil, I appreciate it mate. Peter actually had a really good pace at this point as well. But I just want to stay in the slipstream and try to catch up to the people ahead. At this point, I knew I had to go for the move. This was probably the best opportunity I had. So I went for the move here. Plus a bit better tyre as well, because he did pit a lap earlier than me. Since I saw those two start to battle as well, I knew this was the best opportunity for me to go for the move and still not lose time to them. And try to get into their slipstream as well. So that's why I went for it. Yeah, you were very good here, Peter. So at this point, I just tried to catch up to these two. Oh yeah, you got a penalty here. So yeah, we actually had decent pace at this point. I mean, I got a purple up on lap 17 somehow. So we actually had good pace here. Wind bumped off spray, probably because he saw me start to catch up, so he probably just wanted to try to break away from me at this point. But I knew at this point on, in the GTR, Wind has to go for the move in turn 1. Because if he doesn't go for the move in turn 1, there's nowhere else for Wind to overtake Bray, except for the last hairpin. But if he goes for the move in the last hairpin, the VW just has a lot better acceleration than the GTR, but he would be able to get him back to the racing line. So I knew Wind had to go for the move here. Thank you, AG Bob. So he yanks it on the outside, but since the VW has really good acceleration, he keeps it on the inside. So they go side by side through here. Really good racing actually. Bit deep from Bray, but he was kind of ahead, so I'd say that's a fair move to be honest. I tried to have a little look on the inside, but I knew if I was to go for the move on the inside, I would potentially push him wide, and I could have got points deleted. I knew Wind probably wouldn't have reported me, but it was better to stay behind him and not give Consta a good opportunity to go for a move on me here. Unfortunately, I messed up this corner a bit, and that gives Consta a very good opportunity to go for it on me here. So if you know anything about the McLaren, this car has amazing upper end acceleration, better than a WRX even. So I knew I had to defend the inside here. Just look at the upper end acceleration, it's insane. So I had to defend the inside here. I had to brake late, but I judged it perfectly. I could not have defended that any better. I knew if I had a good exit here, I could still have an opportunity on the Wind here, because the WRX has a lot of a better exit here. Fortunately, wasn't quite close enough because I had to defend from Consta. So I just took home a P4. Not the best result, but still decent manu points here. Yeah, 100% outlaw. I had to defend it. So I had to defend Consta mainly because a P4 for me here was still not bad. If I got a P5, I would have potentially have went again, and it would just not have been a fun experience. So I'm glad I kept the P4 until the result here. So yeah, decent race for me. I mean, if you look at my tyres, I paid a lot later and my tyres are only just better. You could tell I was pushing to stay with these guys, so I'm quite happy with how I did there. I will have to use the real OG Bob. Car 80 and GTWS, I'm looking forward to it, Peckish. Thank you, bro. It's 9:21, okay, so I'm going to try get through the rest of these in the next hour or so, because I don't want to make it too long. I think I shared this, yeah, I shared this one. So, next is, I've gone past it, where is it? Yeah, here. Next is the North Side, so as you can see, this is the last lot of top split. Have you been practicing? I can't practice, mate. I don't have a wheel, so once I get given a wheel, then I'll practice. But I can't practice for a bit, but I'm still going to be doing dailies on that, just for fun, and just to keep up on the game. Evening, Sean, and not get too rusty. I hope you're good, Sean. I'm good, thank you. Hopefully this replay does load. It is quite a bit of storage, not 100% sure if it will load. Yeah, okay, it's loading, nice. Yeah, but I don't want to leave it too long, Robert. Because I can't stay up too late tonight. I have to go, but we'll watch the rest of the stream in the morning. Oh, have a good evening, YouTube viewer. Thank you. Have a good night, mate. And have a good night's sleep. I mean, just look at the name of this lobby. I mean, you got the guy who finished P1 in the world in this lobby. You have Mimu, an insane driver. Antonio, an insane driver. Nono, insane. Medi, insane. Like, look at the top 7 of this here. All absolutely insane drivers. Moreno, Mimu, Antonio, Nono, Medi, Jack, and Rind. I mean, just on this list, he qualified, he qualified, he qualified, he qualified, and he qualified. These 5 qualified for this year's World Tour. So the matter of the fact I'm in the same lobby as them, on the track where the controller really struggles on, I knew it was going to be a tall order for me here. Thank you, Heaton, mate, for the $4.99. Congrats on qualifying, Costa, mate. Been a long time coming. Well done. Thank you, Bo. I appreciate your support, and I enjoy racing with you at times, mate. So thank you for the donation, mate. Great support from you. Why can't you use the control on GTWS? Makes no sense. If you're good with it, you should be able to stick with it. Probably because they're sponsors, is my guess. Hello, Augustin. Thanks for the gifted membership, mate. I appreciate it. Thanks for your support recently as well. You are an awesome person, so thank you, mate. But anyway, a little backstory for this. So, by far the biggest mistake I made this season was not to take the points I did in the first race. I already knew I was going to struggle getting a result in this race. Good evening, gas designer. Thank you. So, the first lot, I was in... was I in split 3 or split 2? I think I was split 2 in the first slot. I was split 2. Because I was racing people like Miro and that, and they were split 2. So, the first slot, I think I qualified P8, P9, P10 in the BRZ. Yeah, I know, Robert. Everyone did, and I regretted it. How do you live stream on YouTube with a PlayStation? Alright, so first of all, you have to verify your account to your email or whatever. So if it links up with your Google account or whatever. Once you do that, you have to start a live stream on your mobile device or whatever at least once you get verified. Just so that, well, you just have to stream it on like an iPad, a phone, or any device for that matter that's not on your PlayStation. I think that just gives you the ability to stream on your PlayStation. I don't know why you have to do it, but you have to do it. But anyway, the first lap, I qualified, I think it was P10. I did an 8-minute 3 qualifying lap, so not a good lap, but I think it was P10 area. It might even be P12, you know. And it was, what was it? I think it was times 2 tyre wear, times 2 fuel. If you know anything about the BRZ, the BRZ is really bad on fuel, but it's decent on tyres. And it's in fact one of the only cars that can do 3 laps on the softs. So in the first lap, I decided to do 3 laps on the softs just because I was a bit too far back already, but I wanted to risk it. And it actually really worked out well for me here. I had really bad pace, but because of track position, I was able to keep 5th place. With a little bit of fortune, I should have taken that 5th place. I think I got about 350, 360 points from that. So again, not great points, but considering the controller is terrible on this track, I should have taken it. And I massively, massively regret that decision. Because what you may find out now is I get less points in this lobby. I mean, just look at the name of this lobby. Moreno, Mimu, Jack, Nono, Wind, Medi, Antonio. I got the best of the rest, I would say, in this lobby. I was never going to out-qualify these 7 in their cars either, on the controller, just because the controller struggles with bumps, especially in the carousel here and the mini carousel. I was losing half a second on those 2 corners alone. Well, maybe not half a second, at least 3 times so yeah, this lap, in my opinion, was by far the best qualifying lap I did for this season. My best TT lap I did of this, I think was a 7-minute 58.0. But you've got to remember, that's without tyre wear, and it's times 2 tyre on the soft. So you have to do the whole out lap and the flying lap on the softs. And I did an 801.3, I think it was, which was an extremely good lap for me. I didn't really have any mistakes except for the first sector in my qualifying lap. So my aim here was, I know the BRZ is really bad on fuel, but if I was able to push and stay in their slipstream and get away from these people and guarantee myself a P8, I would have taken it. Even if though it's less points than I would have got in slot 1, even if I got a P8, I would have taken it, just because of the lobby. Giorgio, in the same car as me on the wheel, qualified 5 positions behind me. So just give me a good buffer
against him in the manual leaderboard. So that was my aim, was just to get a P8. So we're just going to fast forward here. I was burning fuel trying to keep up, but you know, I'm losing a bit of time in areas, but like here, look at the straight line speed difference. Like, how can he keep up with this one? Luckily, the BL side has insane downforce, so look how much I can catch up here. And I didn't even do that great. So yeah, I was able to keep close with them. Hello John Newman, hope you're good. Had to push this sector just to keep up with them. But look at the controller here. I just hit the inside curb and just stops my car steering. That puts me massively on the back foot. Thankfully for Fib though, he bum drives me here. Huge shout to Fib here, because it gives me an opportunity to catch up to these cars ahead. I was full push, no safety. I am just going to push until I get into their slipstream, just to try and keep up with them. Thank you, Mark. And I actually had a really good lap here. I was actually catching on slowly, and I was breaking away from Fib. This was really good pace. I think I made a bit of a mistake on this corner from memory. Was it this corner? A little bit deep, yeah, I lost a couple attempts there. But yeah, this was a really good lap, and this helped. Wynn tried to go on the outside here. I've never played with Will, no. Wynn should have probably backed out here, but well, at the same time, I can understand why he tried to hang it on the outside. I mean, you can't really do much about that. That massively helped me, because it meant I'm in the slipstream. Unfortunately, this happens. Again, it just stops steering. Like, look at the apex speed difference in this corner. Just look at the apex speed in the midi carousel. I couldn't have taken it any faster. Thank you, mate. Oh, you're on YouTube, Musa. Thank you, bro. Yeah, look for apex speed. He was taking it 80. I had to take it at 73 in a car with higher downforce on top of that. So at this point, I was in big trouble. Yeah, no nerves. Yeah, 100%. So at this point, Fib got a penalty, but I knew I would still be in trouble. I mean, look at the carousel difference. His car's not even supposed to be getting the carousel, and he was still gaining time on me. I think I made a bit of a mistake on this lap. Yeah, look at that. Like, what are you supposed to do? I think I hit the inside curb here. No, I didn't. I actually did that okay. But just look at the fuel, guys. I'm a bit down on fuel, but I knew if I was to refuel in the pits that Fib would be with me, so I had to not refuel and just save a lot of fuel. Fortunately, it means look how much I have to shift. Look how early I have to shift now, just to make it to the end. I have to do 70% shifts, while Fib can just push. So I knew at some point Fib was always going to catch me up, because I had to fuel save. Because I was trying to push to get into their slipstream, which I unfortunately was not able to do. So at this point, it was just about managing my race and just trying to stay with Fib, basically. I knew he was going to overtake me at some point, just because I had to fuel save and he didn't. So here, I just let him go. I went in fuel map 6. I picked up to fuel map 1 again, just to get closer to his slip. But I'd say from about here, you'll see, yeah, I'm losing speed. So this is when I went to fuel map 6. Just to save that little extra fuel and try to keep up with Fib in the last part of the lap and try getting with slipstream at the end. So that was my aim. Which I was able to do actually really well. I was keeping up with him very well. Unfortunately, I made a mistake in this corner. Bit too deep. And I also had a wheel spinner here. I had to catch it. I lost a lot of time there. I had a decent carousel considering the controller. But again, I make a bit of a mistake here. I think he makes a bit of a mistake as well, but I can capitalise on it because I made a mistake. No, look at that. A bit too much inside curve on wide. Very lucky I didn't get damaged because my car's not far behind me. And his car's quick on the straight on top of that. I did actually catch up to him again. But again, as you know, the controller, yeah, it just wouldn't turn. Controller can't do banked corners for some reason. Not quite close enough to fib, unfortunately. I had a little luck on the inside, but I knew I couldn't really risk it. I had a little luck, but yeah. Just a little luck. Just tried putting him off, but he defended it well. Not much I could have done about that. And of course, the BRZ doesn't have power, so I couldn't even get close to it at the end. And I also went out of fuel. I forgot I went out of fuel. Yeah, I mean, look at that pace. 8 minutes 0. That's an 8:04. That was my best drive of the season, but because I'm in top split, it was only a P9. I believe Conster did the last slot in split 2, and he got P2, and his lap time was a 8:01.4, I think. So I think I actually outqualified Conster in terms of lap time. I would have been P2 in split 2, but unfortunately I was in top split, and that's what happened. But you know, it is what it is. At least I could keep my head held high because I drove what I thought was my best race of the season, even though it was only good enough for P9 in top split, and it was only 309 or so points, which was 50 less points than the first stop. But that did annoy me a bit that night, I won't lie. However, not the end of the world, because no other super drivers in our region did well there, and if I was to keep the 350, I would have maybe added 4 more money points max, so it didn't cost us too much in the end. And I did beat the super driver in the same lobby. I mean, he got P14, I got P9, so it gave me a good points cushion to Giorgio still. But that's with Nurburgring, round 4. 2 more races to show you guys. Thank you, Bozak. So next is round 5. What was round 5? I'm trying to remember what round 5 was. Oh yeah, Spa. There you go. So, again, for this round, after the experience of Nordschleife, and because the BRZ is not great on this track, I decided to drop DR again, and I wanted to be in split 3 for this, because I know in the okay, so the 2 reasons I wanted to be in split 3, is 1, with my luck, I probably wasn't gonna get a wet race, and I wanted to try and be in a lower lobby in case I didn't get a wet race, so that I could still at least have a fighting chance of a good result if it was to be a dry race. My qualifying lap here was probably my worst qualifying lap of the season. In TT, with this wind, I think it was a 2:17.2, but my qualifying lap was a 0.6, I think. And this was with probably better qualifying conditions than in TT. So realistically, I should have been aiming for a 2:17.2. But I did a 2:17.6. Luckily for me, everyone in this lobby, except Paul and maybe P2, messed up their lap. It was still good enough for P6, thankfully. So it's gonna... I think for this race, it was only racing mediums. I want to say it was times 2 tyre wear. No, it was times 3 tyre. It was times 2 fuel, times 3 tyre wear. So another race where the BRZ would either have to refuel in the pits or fuel save. I practiced with fuel saving, and I had to shift before the bar even appeared just to make it on fuel. So I knew, but I just had to push, try and save a little bit of fuel in slipstream of others, but mainly push and just refuel in the pits, and just hope for rain. Unfortunately, for literally the first corner, yeah, it's true, Outlaw. But that's why in TT I practiced with Northwind only, because I knew it was going to be Northwind for qualifying, just based on the previous years when we've had this combat. I'm sure you've already spoke about this, but for the GTWS live event, are you planning to play with the pad? You have to use the wheel in the live event, unfortunately. Hello, Rusty. Shotgun. Thanks for the like, mate. Unfortunately here, guys, I did brake early, and it did kind of ruin Adam's race. Yeah. That's just unfortunate. I didn't want to hit the car in front, so I braked a bit too early. So I apologise to Adam Tapai for that little moment. One more reason why the qualifying was extremely important here is because what you may have noticed, if you start the race in P9, you start in the chicane, and everyone behind them does as well. So just look at the gap compared to the leader in last place. If you qualified last, look at the difference. You're starting a whole straight behind. That's why I practiced mainly in qualifying, because I didn't want to start too far back. Luckily, I started in the top 8, so I wouldn't have had this issue. This really helped. Archer had a moment in the chicane. He gets a penalty, so that gives me his slipstream on this part of the track, and I would overtake him in the penalty. Since these three are bunched up a bit as well, I knew if I was just to take my normal racing line that, I should be able to keep up with them. Which is exactly what I did. Fortunately, since the BL head does not move in a straight line, it gives Archer big slipstream and it goes to the move. As soon as I see him dive on the inside, I just let him have it because I didn't want to waste time battling at this point. There's no reason to battle this early on. The surface went funny, I lost a bit of time unfortunately, but anyway. Probably because of the pit loss delta outlaw. The pit loss delta on that track is like 50 seconds for some reason, I don't know why. They should fix that, to be honest. But other than that, I agree, they should use that rolling start for sure. At this point, I just had to rely on Archer having good pace and trying to catch up to the guy's head. I would try and bump draft him, but the BL is just so on the straight that I wouldn't really be able to, except on this straight maybe, because the BL is able to release out of that corner really well, and it's actually got a decent top end. It's just the acceleration the BL doesn't have good on. It's got okay top end. At this point I moved to the outside just to show Archer I'm not going for the move. It does go a bit deep here, so we do lose a couple attempts here, unfortunately. But it does keep me close with him, and I'm able to use his slipstream. I mean, look at this. Just look at the acceleration difference here, guys. Just look at the acceleration difference. I am right up against him, and look at the acceleration. What are you supposed to do about that? What are you supposed to do? I had a really good exit, and he's still putting temps on me. What are you supposed to do? I've lost half a second and I'm in a slipstream. I'm only just now gaining on him, and I'm in a slipstream. But anyway. The BL set is insane in S2, so I know I'm able to keep up with him here. Try to tie safe a bit, just so that I have good pace at the end of stints. These surfaces were throwing me off as well. At this point I was just fuel saving behind him on straights. Because I wasn't able to overtake him, so I might as well just fuel save a bit and try at least match their fuels. You told this, do you get to choose them which one manufacturer you are always okay. Yes, you are allowed to pick the manufacturer. If you go back to when I start the replay of the first race, which is at Rolanta, you will hear on why I didn't pick some of the other manufacturers. I haven't actually explained why I picked Subaru yet still. I'll do that at the end of the stream why I picked Subaru. But I talked about 4 or 5 manufacturers I was thinking of going in, and the reasons why I didn't pick those in the end, but I'll talk about why I picked Subaru at the end of the stream. At this point, I'm bummed off an Archer. We're matching the leaders, but we're not gaining enough at this point. I mean, looking at lap times, we're still losing a bit of time here. I think from this lap onwards, we started to catch these up a bit. Yeah, he had a good lap here. You may notice as well, the rain bar started to appear. It is starting to rain very slowly. I mean, if you go to the windscreen here, you see the windscreen wipers are on now. It's not on in my car because I have a windscreen button allocated on my controller, and I just don't turn it on. I just have that button allocated because there's nothing else that button does, so I just have it for windscreen wipers, just for a while. As you can see, yeah, the wipers are wiping on some vehicles, which means it's starting to rain. Anyway, back on board with me. At this point, I'm still fuel saving. Not much else I can really do about this, unfortunately. But it's really starting to get wet. But I knew at this point, if I was to risk on Inters, the Inters would just burn the tyres. So there's still no point pitting at the moment, even though it was starting to get a bit scary in this sector. Because this sector was the way... This is where the rain started, on this side of the track. So I knew at this point it was starting to get onto Inter's territory, but I knew it'd still be dry on other parts of the track. So I knew this lap was still not the lap to pit. At this point it's starting to get a bit wet. I think this is when it was starting to get a bit sketchy. However, I still felt like I had really good grip, so I knew I should still do at least one more lap, because if I was to pit on Inters now, it would still burn through the tyres. So I just had to stay out. At this point, Archer caught to the slipstream. Not much I can do about that. That's just Lambo being fast on this track, from the BL said. Not much I can do about it. It was really starting to get wet though. So this was a good opportunity for me to capitalise in these conditions. Since people will be going deep in that, if I was just to keep on a racing line, I will be keeping up with them. Like, look how much I gain in this corner alone. And the next corner coming up. I go a bit too deep here, unfortunately. This corner I gained a lot of time though. Look at the exit speed I get. They're going about 94. Yeah, look at the exit I get. A lot better of an exit. Look at the fuel difference. I'm a bit low on fuel. That's just how bad the BL said is on fuel. I was still fuel saving as well. I'll brake early here because I don't want to hit anyone. I knew everyone was going to pit because it's just too wet now. You have to pit. At this point, I knew some people would consider not putting fuel in their cars and saving the extra couple seconds. I know in my car I have to refuel, so I refueled to up to, I think it was 60% fuel. %, there you go. This does leave me a bit of a gap, but it does mean I can push in these conditions and drive to my capabilities without having to rely on their braking points, etc. I knew I'd be fully able to push in these conditions. Look how much more fuel I have compared to some of the competitors. I knew I wouldn't have to worry about fuel. That put quite a lot in. So now it's just a matter of fact of tyre save a little bit initially while it's still a bit dry, just so that I'd have too much tyre at the end of the race. So at this point, just try and catch up. Archer goes deep here. Oh no, he doesn't go deep. He touches the bollards and it chucks his car for track. Very unfortunate. That does give me slipstream though, which is awesome, because slipstream gains you a lot of time on this track, just because there's two massively long straights on this track. So all I had to do was keep up with him, which is exactly what I did, because he goes deep in the last chicane. I knew at this point it was starting to get wet, and these cars wouldn't be able to take a route around on flat. Some cars would. He had to do a little lift, he had to lift. Alpha tries to take it flat, but he has to oversteer, which costs him a few miles per hour. Luckily for me, Beyonce has decent top end, and I knew I had to go for the move, because this was probably the best opportunity I had. I know how to good pace these conditions. I brake late, made sure I stayed on the apex so he couldn't go anywhere, and I got ahead of him. Thanks for 200 likes as well, guys. I appreciate the support that you guys are showing. At this point, it was just a matter of not if, when I would catch these guys up, because I am confident in these conditions. Look at the lap times. So much faster. These surface, by the way. Look how much these guys have to lift in this corner now. Only the Audi R8 was taking it flat. 137 average, I was doing 142. 5 miles per hour difference. Huge, considering the following straight is going uphill. I very quickly catch these guys up. Vento messes up the exit here, but just look at the exit this car gets out, this hairpin going up. I basically have to wait until Vento makes a mistake, just because look at the exit he gets here compared to me. This is the Genesis acceleration. You cannot compete with that. Here, Grey Goo goes a bit deep here and has oversteer. I think he touches the Astro. Oh no, he just has oversteer. And yeah, he touches the Astro, so he gets a bad exit and potentially dirty tyres as well. In fact, he does get dirty tyres. I have a little look on the inside, but I didn't want to push him off, so I just waited until middle of the corner, because I knew I'd have a lot more grip than him. I knew he would have had dirty tyres and he would have to let me go on the inside. So that kind of worked out pretty well for me here. So now it was now about trying to pass Vento and waiting for him to make a mistake. That mistake came in the chicane actually. So he goes a little bit deep in the first part and he gets massive oversteer. Unfortunately I had nowhere to go. Even if I had anywhere to go, he would stay ahead of me just because of the acceleration difference. So all I had to do was brake late, get as close to him as possible out of his hairpin, and hopefully he messes up a bit of a route so that I can get him at the end of the straight. So we're going to keep it on board with me here. Actually no, we're going to go to Vento's point of view here. At this point it was starting to get a bit wet. He goes a bit wide, so he has to massively back out. Meanwhile I go flat and I'm right in the slipstream. Genesis doesn't have the best top end, Biased actually has okay top end, so I'm easily able to pull out of the slip. Vento lifts and let me take the racing line, so thank you Vento. I appreciate that. Right, now it was about catching these two up. I was easily catching them, second lap quicker at this point. These are my self conditions I shine on. Like at this point, I am right on who's Miranda? I'm trying to remember who Miranda is. Who's Miranda? Is it Albafor? I don't think it is Albafor. Is Albafor in this race? Is it? I don't know. Anyway, I caught up to his Lambo driver. And all I had to do was wait for a mistake. That mistake came here. Too much oversteer. He does a good job saving it though. Unfortunate with the penalty though. But it gives me a very good run to go for it here. He lets me go. Cheers, Alpha. I appreciate it. Now, it was about trying to catch up to Carlos Salazar ahead of us. Yeah, curve for sure, Outlaw. Try to keep the cooling tyres, try to cool my tyres down a bit, because I know the BRZ will struggle with tyres by the end of the race, because the track was starting to dry out more, and the other instance would start to struggle, especially with ×3 tyre wear on top of it as well. So now I catch up with Salazar, but if you know anything about the Audi R8, that car has insane acceleration and upper end acceleration. There's no chance I can overtake him unless he makes a mistake. So all I can really do is save my tyres, try and get him at the end of the race. Fortunately, that opportunity never really came. This was the closest I got to him. Still nowhere near enough to send it on him here. I could try dive from the inside here, but the BRZ doesn't have good brakes. If my car had really good brakes, I would consider trying to outbrake him and try to get on the inside, but the BRZ doesn't have good brakes, so I couldn't send it on him. I did get close to him here, but not close enough. Yeah, look at tyres tipping as well. I had a small look on the inside just to try throw him off, but yeah, not much you can do about it. Most cars are good on brakes per case, but I'd say the best one is the both the Porsches. The F-Type's actually decent. The WRX has really good brakes as well. R8 has good brakes. Kent is not the best. I think the Genesis has okay brakes. Citroen has okay brakes. RCZ has decent brakes. I think the Crown has okay brakes. Most cars have good brakes, to be honest. I just know the BRZ doesn't have good brakes for some reason, even though the car's in downforce. So we got P2. I think it was 396 points. I was considering going again because I knew at this point Subaru was struggling on money points. I decided not to go for it on the end because it was unlikely I was going to get more rain in the race. So I just couldn't take the risk. So we took the points, and at this point, after all the points deletions and everything, I believe we were P13 in money leaderboard. I believe we were about 8 points off the Citroen, who were in P12. However, we knew at the last round we were at Watkins Glen, and if you know anything about Watkins Glen, it is full of medium and long. It's full of long corners with medium to high speed cornering, which is the BRZ's biggest strength and a very bad weakness for the Citroen, because the Citroen has bad handling, only has good tyre wear and good acceleration. So thank you, mate. So I knew, and I will mention it now. I might cut this part out of the stream because I do get copyrighted a bit at times for showing Watkins Glen for some reason. So I might have to cut this part out of the stream. Actually, no, I just won't monetize the stream. You know what? I just won't monetize it. I can get copyrighted for showing Watkins Glen for some reason. I'll say that right now. But I don't really care about monetization at the moment, so I'll just show it. I'll keep it in for those that miss it. But anyway, so this was slot 2, and first slot, unfortunately, I messed up both my qualifying laps. My second lap was actually decent, other than the chicane. I hit the bumps wrong, and I lost probably 4 attempts just because I hit the chicane wrong. That would have been enough for about P4 in top split first lap, which I would have taken. But that didn't happen, and I got about P8. Luckily for this, I got pole position in top split. It was a dead top split, but top split nonetheless. And this was times 5 tyre wear on both the racing hards and racing mediums. You had to use both tyres. It was a 17 lap race. I decided to start on the mediums. I was actually going to start on the hards, but the matter of fact that Giorgio behind me started on not started on mediums, qualified behind me, meant I could get away starting on mediums and not be under threat from the cars behind if I was to nail turn 1. Which is exactly what happened. I absolutely nailed this turn 1. Much better than Giorgio. At this point, I was guaranteed P1 in Subaru in the MEA, so all I wanted to do was get Subaru global points. So what you may notice is Nono goes for the move on Giorgio here. I keep it to the inside here. I am giving Giorgio slipstream. I want him to stay ahead of Nono here, because I want Subaru to get money points. I don't care if Giorgio beats me this race or not. All I want to do is get global points for Subaru here. He's on the hard tyres as well, so we had to break away from him as soon as possible. And there's not really much to show in this race, unfortunately, so all I'm going to show you guys is the lap differences. Obviously, first lap I'm always going to be faster because I start further ahead of him, but lap 2, 0.1, he did a 0.3. There's not much to talk about, unfortunately, so I'm just going to very quickly go over it. We're gaining about a second lap on Nono here, which is basically the delta between the mediums and hards, so we're doing a pretty good job. This is when tyre wear started to kick in. Now, like I said, you had to use both the hards and mediums. I was really contemplating staying out one more lap. However, I actually decided to pit this up for 2 reasons. One, if Giorgio was to stay out here, I would not be giving him the slipstream and giving him 3 lap time. And plus, if anything, a fresh set of hards would be faster than one mediums at this point. And I didn't want to lose track position. So that's why I pitted. Unsurprisingly, Giorgio stayed out just to have slightly better tyres for the end of the race. Luckily for me, I actually had a pretty good outlap considering I had cold hard tyres. But the gap basically maintained between us two. Now he has to deal with cold tyres, and I gained, I think, 3 tenths this lap on him. Obviously, I'm going to have worse tyres for the rest of the stint, but as long as I keep it consistent, I should be good. As you can see, I'm still gaining time on him here. 46.0, he did a 0.1, another tenth. This was not a great lap. Giorgio gains 2 tenths on me. He gains another tenth and a half. I did a good lap 15. Lap 16, tyre wear starting to kick in. Giorgio is always going to be faster than me. And there you go. End this season on the high. We win this race. Extremely happy with how I drove this race. Didn't make any mistakes. All I had to do was keep it on the track, not get penalties, keep it consistent. That's exactly what I did, and I got the result we needed for Subaru. This basically confirmed Subaru qualifying because because it's the best 5 rounds out of 6, and this is for both your individual score and the global point. This gave me, I think, a 20-ish point or so improvement in EMEA. In Asia, they got P3 or P4 in top split. They took about 24 global points, which was an improvement of 15 and a half global points. But after my result here, this basically confirmed Subaru to qualify because we were now ahead of VW and Citroen. We were P11 at this point. I think we might have even been ahead of Lambo as well. We were at least P11 now. So unless Citroen was to somehow win a top split race, which was just impossible because their car they were qualifying at the back of the grid just because their cars had no handling. But this confirmed it for us. But now I'm going to go out of here. Don't really need to talk about this race other than really happy with how I drove, and I could not have done a much better job. Thank you, Jufler. Hope you're good. But now, let's get to the reason I picked Subaru. So, if you remember from the beginning of the stream, I talked about why I didn't pick Jaguar, Genesis, Lexus, Mazda, and the Citroen. Now I'm going to talk about why I picked why I picked Subaru. And there is 2 or 3 reasons why I picked Subaru. You just get a challenge on it, and then you respond saying it's your own original content from Gran Turismo Draft 36. Yeah, I know, Flash, but I can't be bothered with that, to be honest, mate. I know you can do that, but for a couple, it doesn't make much difference. It's not a strike. As long as it's not a strike, I don't care. For a channel of my size, it doesn't make much difference, to be honest. It's not worth going out my way trying to get it reviewed and that. But anyway, let's get into the reasons I picked Subaru. And I'd say there's 2 or 3 reasons for this. First of all, well, my first reason is I just love Subaru in general. I love the BRZ, I love the WRX. I am pretty good in the WRX. The BRZ's not my best car, but I'm okay in it. It's not my best car in the world, but I'm pretty decent in it. And it does suit the controller a bit more, I'd say, just because this car is very twitchy when you pick up the throttle, just because of how much the turbo kicks in this car, how much PSI this car has with the turbo. It just makes it really oversteery, which is an advantage for the controller, because the controller probably has a little bit of built-in stability compared to the wheel, which doesn't have any of that, etc. So that's one reason why I picked it. Second reason, and I have to give a massive, massive shout out to 2 people in particular. Hello again, cars. 2 people in particular I want to give a big shout out to. I will make a post, and I will shout these 2 guys out in the post as well. At some point, I might do a post after the stream. I might do it tomorrow. Thank you, Tuesday, for the membership, mate. I appreciate you. Great support. Thank you, mate. But anyway, second reason I picked Subaru is because of 2 particular people, and I'm going to say thanks for these 2 right now. First of all, is from Antonio, the person who qualified in Lexus, and Antonio. So big thanks to Antonio, and a big thanks to Wind as well. They told me I should probably pick this Subaru, and their reasons for me to pick Subaru is because Antonio told me that Lam would bag some very good points in Subaru. That gave me a bit of confidence, and plus I know not many people in EMEA picks this car either. And then Wind basically confirmed that message and said you should probably go Subaru. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll go Subaru then. Thank the Lord I did pick Subaru, because I don't think I would have qualified in any other manufacturer this season. So thanks to Win, thanks to Antonio for them suggesting me to pick this car. I cannot thank them enough, and I will make a post shouting those 2 out in particular. So that's the second reason. Oh, that's really the only reasons I picked this manufacturer, to be honest. It's thanks for those 2, and it's because I do like Subaru in general as well. Hello, Fib. Subcaster, nice review. I remember I bunch drafted you on it. Yeah, thank you, mate. Unfortunately, I still lost to you, but at least it helps us get away from the other people. So thank you, mate. Thank you for that bump draft. Those are the main 2 reasons I say I would pick Citroen. I keep saying Citroen, man. Those are the main 2 reasons I picked Subaru. To be fair, the BRZ top speed isn't terrible. It's more the acceleration. As soon as it gets to its top end, it's not terrible. It's not much slower in top end. It's just the acceleration. Like, it's got 0 acceleration. But anyway, huge shout out to Wind and Antonio. I loved the Subaru, so I actually picked Subaru last year as well, for those I didn't know. And I got top 30 on points, but I was still a good 400, 500 points behind Killian, which is another reason I picked Subaru, is because Killian moved away from Subaru, and that guy is just a monster in Subaru. Like, I remember on average last year, my TT qualifying pace compared to him was 3 to 4 tenths off him, and my laps felt good. So the matter of fact, he was still 3 to 4 tenths faster than me in qualifying. I knew I wouldn't be able to beat him, but he didn't like how they were balancing that kind of World Series races, because either that car's really good in World Series races or it's terrible because the car can't overtake. You can't really balance the BRZ just because of how much downforce it has. You basically have to change the area of this car to make it viable on and try and make it balanced. Thank you, Marios, and thank you, Tips for Manual Gearing, Brent. You'll just pick it up over time. I can't really give you tips on it, to be honest. I basically I've always played with manual, so I've just picked it up over time. I would honestly say manual is easier these days because you can't downshift too aggressively anymore. The game has stopped you doing that, so yeah. Yeah, I am on controller highlights, Shadow. I am indeed. Thank you, Cars. And in fact, talking of controller, we are the only team with controller players in the World Series for manufacturers. We don't only have me as a controller player, we have Dodge Lamb who uses controller as well. So there's 2 of us on controller. We're going to try our best, get good results, and at the end of the day, I don't really care how I do in the World Series races. I will obviously practice and try my best, but I am expecting nothing. I won't be surprised if I even get last. But I'm just there to enjoy myself, meet some people, have a good time, I'm not going to stress myself about it because I'm expecting nothing. Because these guys play with, I don't use gyro, I just use sticks. I don't use a gyro. Oh yeah, sticks rather than gyro, so yeah, I do use sticks, you're right. All I'm going to do there is just meet some people, have some fun, and we'll just see how we get on. Other than that, unless any of you've got any other questions, yes, you will see my face. But before any of that, sorry, what was I trying to say? But other than that, sorry, I am done, unless you've got any questions you want to ask me, because I don't want to make this stream too long. I just want to quickly review the season, go through my thoughts and processes, go through what I was thinking at the time, what I could have maybe done differently. I'll tell you what I could have done differently is qualifying better, because my qualifying this season was shocking. I've only done 2 good quali laps in, I think, about 12 sessions, which is not good enough, to be honest. So what screen do I use? I use a 43, I think it's a 43-inch TV. I just use a TV. Calster, all I want to say is congrats, mate. Always a pleasure. Thank you, Andy. Where's the wheel coming from? I will get given a DD Extreme, sorry. Are you going to have to use a wheel? Yes, I will have to use a wheel on the World Tours. Indeed, I will. Probably because of sponsors, would be my guess. But anyway, I do have to use a wheel on that. But that's all good, because that just means I get to learn using a wheel. And yeah, I get given something for free, which is pretty expensive, which is awesome. When you trail brake into a corner and the ABS starts kicking in, do you live with it? I try to ease it off, because if you don't ease it off, that's when the tyre wear really kicks in. Thanks for the streamcaster. Once again, congrats on the World Series. Thanks to everyone who watched and liked and joined in the chat. Yeah, cheers, Dingle. Try to lift off the brakes when you can feel the ABS really kicking in, because if you don't lift off the brakes and you carry on braking fully and turning, that's when you get really high tyre wear, because you're putting a lot of force in the brakes and the tyres at the same time, and you're also turning it, which is just scrubbing that front tyre. That's what destroys the front tyres, on top of the fast corners as well. So I know on the corner at Yas Marina, I'm not doing that. That's because as soon as I started to lift off the braking for that corner, I just really struggle actually getting turned into the corner and slowing it down. Are you going to stay on wheel? I will probably stay on wheel for the first months I get it until Milan. But once I've done the Milan, I'll probably go back to controller mainly. Every combo, and then I will probably use the wheel. Maybe in Power Pack I'll use wheel, just to carry on getting used to it. But I want to stay controller mainly, just because there's not enough controller players at the top of the game, and I know that there's not many content creators that use controller either. So I'm going to try do my bit to help the people improve on controller than that. So unless anyone else has any questions, I'm going to start signing off the stream. So first of all, I'm going to very quickly read off the donations I've had this stream. Just to say thanks to everyone that's donated and that. So thank you Ibri for €5. Thank you Mike for €59.99, which is just insane. Some support for the wheel. Thank you mate. Thank you Flash for $4.99. An official congrats on qualifying and the digital celebratory beer. Well done. Thank you for $4.99 Flash. Thank you Jay for the membership. For 1 month of membership. I'm so happy for you. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you, Sydney, for the £5. Congrats, been waiting for you to qualify for a few years now. Thank you, mate. Thank you, Crossfire, for 10 gifted memberships, which is just insane. Thank you, Watkins, for 45 Danish currency. Sorry, I still don't know what it's called. Controller power, congrats, Calster. Thank you, mate. Thank you, Flash, for another $4.99. Calster, can you talk us through what you do? Yeah, I've already answered about what I was doing in the wet, so if you were here or not, you can look back at Gardens in case you missed that out. Thank you, Heaton, for the $4.99. Great to see you racing with me every now and then. Congrats on qualifying, Calston, mate. Been a long time coming. Well done. Thank you, Bo. Thank you, Hogston, for the gifted membership. And thank you, GFlow GT, for the membership as well. Let me see if there's any other questions. My controller go. I try my best. I think you do great service for Pad Players, Castle. You're onto something here. Yeah, I will stay control mainly, don't worry. But as soon as I get a wheel, I need to make sure I practice with a wheel because I don't want to embarrass myself at the event. I probably will, to be honest, but I want to try at least prepare myself to the best of my ability. Well done again, dude. Good luck, have fun there. Thank you, mate. That's the main thing. As long as I have fun, then we're doing the right thing. I have to say, I've gained 30 subs this stream. You guys are absolutely insane. Like, you guys are insane. Thank you so much, guys. Cheers, guys, for another awesome stream, mate. Keep going forward. Thank you, mate. That's me done for the night as well. Take care, everyone, and thanks to the usual suspects. Cheers, Carl. Thank you for everything, Pie. See you later. Full pedals will take most getting used to, in my opinion. For me, it'll probably be the steering over the pedals, to be honest. I'll have to get used to the steering with the steering wheel, because that is probably more different than trying to apply the throttle and braking technique to the pedals, but we'll see. For a laugh, turn up for the event with a pad. I might consider doing that, I might just do it for a laugh. And just show everyone a controller. I don't know. It would be funny. Respect, take care, everyone. Thank you, Budweiser. Thank you, Jordan Wright, for $4.99. Congrats, Caster. Fully deserved. Best of luck, man. Thank you, bro. Take care, Etman. Have a good night. Now, steering is easy. Different people adapt to different stuff quicker and slower, Robert, so we'll see. I don't know, Etman. I actually don't know. That will be interesting. Alex D, well done, Caster. True Sam. Thank you, mate. Control versus wheel is like surgery with a chainsaw versus the scalpel. Yeah, probably is, to be fair. We'll try our best. That's all I can do. Before I go, guys, let me see if there's anyone streaming to give a nice little shout out to. Other than that, I need to relax for the night and I need to go to bed quite early. Who do we give out a shout out to? I know who to give a shout out to. I know exactly who to give a shout out to. Everyone go watch Stampy's stream right now. Go watch Stampy. He's on 28 viewers. Let's try get it to 40 viewers at least, guys. I will leave the link in the chat. Everyone go watch Stampy. Go to his stream. Say I sent him. Sorry, say that you got sent from my channel. Go watch him. See you later, guys. Have a good night. I will be streaming tomorrow as well. I will be doing more dailies. And I'll be doing a lot more dailies this week, in fact. But other than that, have a good night. See you later. Enjoy your evening. Thanks everyone for the donos. And go watch Stampy. I'll put a link in my chat. See you guys. Have a good